And we're live! I think.
Hello, everyone, I think. You're watching Those Aren't Biscuits, your weekly internet talk show. My name's Jonathan Cadotte. With me, as always, Owen Adams. Say hi, Owen.
Hello! And remember, it is your weekly internet talk show. Nobody else's. Your grandma can't have this.
Yep. Yes, it's... Be greedy. Just gobble it right up.
Remember, the message of this week's show is persecute your grandma.
Right, every show has a theme, and this week's theme is hatred towards the elderly.
Yeah, well, it's a good one. It's a classic. It's worked well for us in the past. We're returning to it if we have to. We are playing Worms. Have you played this yet? I know we've talked a little bit, but
no, I haven't.
We both played Worms games in the past. We're both big fans, but I have not actually had a game of this yet, so I don't know exactly how it's going to play. We'll have to see. But yeah. How are you, John?
Yeah, I'm doing just fine. We're just kind of getting ourselves set up here. It usually takes us a little bit of time to
Takes us a little bit of Jessica on my scene. Something. I don't remember girls' names. La 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 la.
So yeah, hop in the chat, say hi. Speaking of which, hi, Ninth Dimension Gaming.
Hello, how you doing, Ninth Dimension Gaming?
Right.
Ninth Dimension says, what is this game about? Have you never played a Worms game before? It's very simple. You'll pick it up when we start playing, almost certainly. But it's an artillery game, basically. Yeah. That's the genre. It's funny, though, because really, the genre is Worms.
Yeah. Well, no, there's a couple others out there.
Sure, but when you see them, do you go, oh, it's an artillery game, or you go, it's like Worms?
It's like, oh, yeah, it's a Worms game.
Yeah.
Ninth Dimension Gaming said, I hate the elderly hugs, Granny.
Well, I want to know how bad your hugs must be, if that is an expression of hatred.
Are you covered in spikes?
Yeah.
Hello, Sam Foreman.
I like to think all of our fans, all of our viewers have like different characteristics. You know, like Sam's the witty one. You know, Blage is the cool one. Ninth Dimension Gaming's the one covered in spikes.
Spikes, yeah. It's like do you remember that the X-Men show?
Right.
Like X-Men
What was that
Evolution,
character called?
Something like that?
Spike?
Marrow? Yeah, Spike. Yeah, just Spike. Like S-P-Y-K-E.
Well, have you seen this game on the PlayStation Store that's called Jidge? And it's so clearly Judge Dredd. Like, it just looks like Judge Dredd. It looks like Hotel Miami. Oh, but no, sorry, not Hotel Miami. Hotline Miami. Hotel Miami's a much more relaxing game. It looks like Hotline Miami, but it's clearly all just ripped off from Judge Dredd. But it's called Jidge. Like,
oh god,
Jidge.
So it's J-D-G-E?
It's J-Y-D-G-E. So it looks like Judge at a glance, but it's called Jidge. Do you know, we haven't actually tested we can actually play this with friends.
You can.
Oh, good.
Sure.
I really hope so. Hello to Sam Foreman, by the way. Hope you all. I'm just going to link this up in the Discord so we can get some viewers in. We're going to be talking about different things today. I have some topics. I have one specific thing I think is very interesting. We'll get some good mileage out of them, I'm sure. But how are you, John? What's going on? I don't know.
Good,
where do we go from here?
I'll set up the game.
Awesome.
Here, and then I'll invite you in.
Sounds good.
Like I said, I'm doing okay. Not gonna lie. I'm a little, not gonna lie, I'm a little hungover, so if I seem a little, that's why.
Ninth Dimension Gamer says, yes, I'm wearing spike-coated clothes. Spike-coated. See, coated I usually like to think for, like, paint or glue.
Like,
so when you say
like
you're spike-coated, when you say you're spike-coated, I imagine you just got them from a bucket and, like, smeared, and, like, you remember the opening to Hot Shots Part 2 when he's putting his fists in the
the candy.
Right.
This is the place to
I like to
find
imagine that.
Shush.
the worm icon button.
I'm getting narration.
Options can be
We don't want this narration on the stream. Alright, let's get this game set up. So, beginner. Do we get to toggle worms / options? Ooh, can I want to see how we can customize that. Oh, I see.
Oh, wait. Do I?
Oh, I can pick my classes. I think.
Right. Oh, I think I have to actually.
Oh, I see. No, I'm getting to pick which individual team members we got. I'm gonna be very silly, and I'm just gonna pick 4 standard worms for now. Oh, you can actually.
Okay.
You can actually choose to have more on your team. Oh, I see. I think we can pick how many team members we got. Should we go with a full complement?
Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna back out because I think I have to. Yeah.
Okay, I can re-invite you in a moment.
Players.
Oh, okay, right. I'll back out too then. You set it up, you re-invite me, it'll be fine. We're still just setting up the stream? Okay, says, where's John live? I want to play some bumping house music really loud. I have to mention gaming says, throws random elderly in the fire. Just a random one. Do you know what? At least it wasn't a specific one, because then we'd be in trouble. No, we don't want specific...
You, Ethel, get in the fire!
Ethel! That's good. Hope you guys are having fun. Drop in, say hello, hit those like and subscribe buttons. We are a live talk show. We go live every week. So, should we just go with 4 worms? And just go with the default for now? Let's do this. So, worms, if you've never played worms before, it's a game where you are worms, and they kill each other, essentially. We're both ready. We just wait for it to begin.
I think?
Toggle worms / options. Oh, hey! Hey! A skunk! I like a skunk. Worms!
Oh, we get to choose our...
Do we? I don't get to choose anything yet. I think that's you.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
No. So if you guys have never seen this, while you're choosing, I'll talk through the show. You delve in, because I can't see this yet. So if you guys have never seen this show before, the way it works is we pick a game, we play a game, and we talk about different topics while we're covering it. Used to be a podcast, now it's a live chat show. Drop in, say hello. We do take questions, but we tend to take them in blocks. So if we're not getting to them, don't worry. Just send your questions in, and we'll get them in time. And yeah, it's pretty good. Now, Ninth Dimension Gaming's never played worms before, so... Oh, we get the age-old fun task every time you play a worms game of trying to figure out what's jump and what's attack, you know?
Right.
Okay, says, there's so many worms games. The Worms Clan Wars narrator is the same actor as Jen from the IT crowd. Yes, we covered this. Oh, is this... Oh, it's me! Okay, right. I think Square... Yeah, Square's jump. Have fun with that. Okay, so the way worms works is... You have your worm, and you worm them about... And you have to basically then choose weapons. And... Okay, what's my... circle is weapon select if you're interested. Airstrike.
I am.
Where are the grenades?
I was hoping to actually play this game as a pacifist.
Oh, okay, there we go. I see... Oh! Oh, John.
Oh, no. Oh.
You have to...
Hey.
You have to pick... You have to load up ammunition with coins. So you have to...
Okay.
You have to accumulate coins. Oh, damn. Run away! Run away! Mission fail!
We're off to a smashing start.
This is how all games of worms go while you remember to recalibrate your your senses, you know what I mean? Oh no, not that one!
Oh, how do I zoom in?
I believe it's... Actually, no, I don't know. Are you fairly zoomed out? I'm pretty zoomed in myself.
Yeah.
Try... Okay,
I got it.
Good luck.
Okay. So, circle for...
Ashton Modry says, I made a biscuit with onions and cheese in it, and then bacon bits with ketchup on top. Fair enough, Ashton. How you doing, man?
What's the shoot, or what's the hit
Cross.
again?
Cross. X. To shoot?
Oh god, that didn't do what I want.
The Dragon Punch is never quite as strong as I remember. Alright, let's ease into this. So I have a topic to talk about, so here's something I think is interesting. Given our love for comics, did you see that Brian Michael Bendis is leaving Marvel for DC?
Yeah.
And what was interesting about...
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, because he's been there a long time. And what's interesting about this to me is... Brian Michael Bendis is... He's leaving because he's upset with Marvel for the Jeez. They aren't publishing as many Miles Morales books as he would like because Peter Parker sells better, and he's not very happy with this. Which leads me to wonder, what's he going to do when he gets to DC and sees how many Miles Morales books they're publishing? What?
I was under the impression that there would be at least 10 Miles Morales books.
Like, that's gonna be an awkward conversation, right? But no. Oh, so he's like, he thinks that Miles Morales is not getting his fair due, and that... But this is a weird thing, because Miles Morales... I like Miles, but this is an age-old problem with comics, isn't it? The new versions of characters never sell as well as the classics, right? Even if they're well written and the books are good. This has been a very old problem. Ooh! Well, at least we're both going to take a little bit of damage for that. Oh my god, look where I landed! Are they actually letting me stop there? I got you, bro! Don't worry, Spikey! Ooh, I'm flying, Jack! Ooh.
I'm thinking of the bodyguard. And I will always love you.
It is weird that you always have to select a weapon now. You can't just default to your bazooka.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, now, what do you think about that? Bendis has been Marvel for pretty much as long as I can remember. I don't think he's ever been with anybody else, has he? Really? I don't think he's ever been with DC, right?
I don't think he's definitely been with DC. I know he's had some indie stuff, like he did, or not indies, but like projects. Like he did Powers.
Right. Who published that?
I don't remember.
I'm gonna have to figure out what the different classes have. I guess the big guys got more health.
Yeah, and they don't move as much.
Right.
What do I got here?
Which Worms games is this one? This is Worms Battlegrounds. It's pretty good. And yeah, Orc, there are tons of Worms games, but you know what? I don't mind. Like, I only need one per system, so long as it's a good one, you know? I don't need to buy a lot. But,
oh, God! What have I done?
Jump! Jump!
Ah!
Oh! We have our first death of the day.
Yes!
Congratulations. I certainly associate Brian Michael Bendis with Ultimate Spider-Man, which is weird because, of course, this is the guy who brought Peter Parker as a teenager back to mainstream popularity as well.
Right. I mean, that's the kind of thing about Brian Michael Bendis is he sort of like single-handedly revitalized Marvel Comics. Like, I mean, they were doing okay, but oh, jeez, this is just brutal.
I know it wasn't golf, but that did better than I thought it would.
Who'd you kill? I didn't even see which one that was.
Did
you kill Friend Zone?
I believe so. Oh, what? Why put them there? We can't use those.
Oh.
This seems like a pretty one so far. Good selection of weapons. The buying the weapon system seems alright. Get out of there, Roger! I'm fairly sure if I land in that goop, I drown, right?
Yes. No, well, you'll start taking damage.
Exist. Well, he's got a lofty goal. So we have found out, by the way, this game has a league mode. So if you'd be interested in seeing us play a league, we're weighing that up. I really want to do a league in Blood Bowl, which I think is going to be good.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm gonna avoid.
Really?
How
did I miss?
Get a little closer. That one doesn't have splash damage. Sorry, why am I helping you? Why am I here? Why am I giving you advice? I'm gonna let you talk about benders for a little bit though, because I know you have stuff to say about this. And
I'm kind of curious what he's gonna do, because there's in my head there was Brian Michael Bendis on Marvel, and his whole deal was that he kept on essentially trying to come up with new ways to bring characters either back, revitalize them, or do something like different with characters.
Yeah, he was kind of a weird radical traditionalist.
Right, like his whole thing was like he's the one who invented Jessica Jones, you know, with like Alias, and he's been really he's been really instrumental with like all like the Defender stuff, or like the characters who are the Defenders, like Iron Fist and Luke Cage and Daredevil. You know, he's been very, very big on those guys. Do
you reckon someone from the Zack Snyder camp came to Brian Michael Bendis in a dimly lit parking lot, just throws down a piece of paper? Looks like some pretty good Netflix ratings you got there. Just, here's a dirty envelope full of cash. No!
Oh, did I hurt myself too?
You are not good at this, John. No!
Yes!
Humbury! Oh, at least I can get the,
the health, yeah.
Yeah, probably, I would think. Yeah.
By 9th game.
Oh, what's going on here? Oh, you started a flammable fire.
Yes, most fires are flammable, Owen.
Oh, you know what I mean. A fire of flammable goods. Okay. What the hell am I gonna do?
But over on DC, they've already had that guy. Jeff Johns has been that guy for them for DC. You know, I mean, Jeff Johns has definitely moved on a little bit to. You know, he's like more of a editor in chief now, I think. And
where the hell's the teleporter? Don't we have that yet?
I don't think so. But he does fill that same Brian Michael Bendis role, and so I'm kind of curious how. That's my idea. Like I don't know what their.
I don't know what I've just done.
How those egos are gonna gel with each other, you know?
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I agree. Okay, there's nothing I can do with that guy from there.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, did you just die?
Yeah.
It's just you and Dre now. I don't know what Dre was. I thought that was Dre. It wasn't, was it?
No.
Where the hell's Dre?
No. I renamed all my characters. So.
Who's this guy? It's time for Doesn't.
Yep.
You renamed Dre to Doesn't, or Doesn't to Dre?
I renamed all mine to, if you put them all together, it says the friend zone doesn't exist.
When did you do that?
Earlier. I was waiting for you to show up.
I didn't even notice. You're a weird guy. I love how it just still displays the original ones. Oh, you have the teleport. What's the icon? Oh, you're so helpful. Oh, that's not a teleport.
Oh, no, it's not.
Get out of there. This is going well.
Now who's bad at this?
Oh. Oh my god, that fire's really kicking off. Alright, it's up to you, Humbury. Oh no, it's Roger. Humbury bought it. Okay, hold on.
I do like the thought though of Jeff Johns and Brian Michael Bendis just beating the hell out of each other, and like, I'm the only one who can have 2 first names in this place. Ow.
There was literally nothing else to do. Samir Davis says, is it a race to a certain point, or are you just killing each other? I'm surprised by the amount of
Just
people who
killing
haven't
each
played Worms before. Pretty much, yep.
So what is that thing? What's the box? Move, you fat tubby bastard!
That was terrific. Don't you hate it when you do a drop like that and it's just a little bit too high and you take like 1 damage and then your turn's over?
Oh god, there's a mine!
Oh! Oh! Well, this could be interesting. Enjoy the fish.
Yeah. That worked out. That worked out for me, I guess.
Okay, now what I want to see is, have I earned coins over the course?
Poisoned?
Maybe. Which case? Are we watching John or Owen? You're watching Owen, but honestly, it wouldn't make that much difference. Okay, so have I earned how the hell do I get more coins? Are these microtransactions?
Goddamn microtransaction. No, they're usually boxes on the map.
How the hell am I gonna come up and give you a... Yeah, but you can... Oh, you get coins from the boxes? Okay. Oh, this is a waste of resources. Whee! Yeah, I made it onto this ridge.
How the hell are we gonna get... well, I think I have a drill or something I can use.
Flamethrower is usually good. Or like blowtorch, you know?
Right. Just gonna let that time run out? Cool.
Yeah, sorry, there's a skip in. There's an intern in there somewhere. I don't know. Hey, it's my time. I can use it how I choose. I was looking at how...
My time down here.
I was looking at how the lovely blasts formed the shape of a lovely truck. It was nice. Are you poisoned?
What? I don't know.
Well, you are sneezing. That makes sense.
Okay, what do I have?
A sushi knife would be good. Is that a pufferfish? That's why it's poisonous. You've been fugued.
Right. I've been fugued.
You really fugued up.
What the hell? How am I gonna get to you?
Dig doesn't dig. Dig doesn't sounds like a comic book pilot. A test pilot from the...
Oh god! Oh.
Why does it always fish? Is that what the drill did? Oh, it's all coming together now. You'll be there in no time.
I'm coming, you son of a bitch. I'm coming. The problem is, I'm gonna get there, and I'm gonna immediately die. You know, because I have no health. I ain't scared of you.
This is going well.
Yeah, it's going.
It's a good kind of podcasting though, because we could just, you know, war of attrition it up. So yeah, Brian Michael Bendis. We don't have too much to say about that. I just wanted to crack my joke about him going to DC and still not being able to make Miles Morales jokes. That was the only reason I brought it up, because I thought that was funny. But but it is interesting. Because, like, if you asked me, I mean, if I was... This is an outsider's perspective, right? But if I worked for one of the big two and you were like, okay, you've got a choice. You currently work for one of them, but you get to choose, but you're jumping ship and going to the other. I'd be going the other way. You know what I mean?
What the?
Hey! And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to fight.
I got hurt.
I'm not the man they think I am at home. Oh no,
no.
I'm a rocket fool. Rocket fool.
Have you seen Ninja Sex Party just did a cover of that? It's really good, actually.
Well, I was at there, and I don't remember them playing any music. Oh, wait, you mean the band? I get it. Technically, any kind of sex I'm involved in is a ninja sex party because nobody knows I was
over
there.
Quickly.
It's over in a flash in the dark, and the woman's not sure if anything happened or not.
Just an overwhelming sense of disappointment.
And the reality's way more disappointing than the movies.
Don't die.
I love... This is basically just survival. I will preserve my 7 health.
Got fucking...
Yeah, do it, man. You'll really turn the game around from there. You look so sad. We dug too deep.
We dug too deep. They went too far. We went too far.
Is your goal just to dig far enough that I can't get you and prolong this for the entirety of the podcast?
No, I'm trying to get to you, honestly.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Why don't you get in here and meet me halfway? Can you meet me halfway? It's here. Ninth Dimension says, hey guys, knock knock. Who's there? Oh, okay. Who's there? Daisy. Daisy who? Daisy me rolling. I thought that was actually kind of funny.
I know. Do you know how I know? Because you told that joke on one of our, like, first streams. Remember when we used to have the bad joke segment at the end?
Oh, yeah. Oh, let's go get this thing, too.
Yeah, I won't take the rest of the show. I love how you cast real-time shadows in a Worms game. What is the point of that? Look.
Yeah, I...
Yeah! Shadows!
It's a John Prine song.
The smallest worm like cast the biggest shadow.
You know what blood looks like on a black and white TV? Shadows! Shadows! It's a good song, actually.
Yeah, sounds it.
Mm-hmm. Alright, there's that. So before we started the show, we were actually talking about Jack Johnson a little bit. Who, I don't know if you guys know who Jack Johnson is, but he is he's just setting mines everywhere.
Yeah.
Jack Johnson is a singer-songwriter who is honestly just like the most like cheerful looking guy ever, you know?
Have you seen your player icon? He's like...
No.
He's bandaged, like when the turn comes up and it's your turn, he's bandaged, he's bruised.
Well, that's nice.
He's seen better days.
But we were talking about what happened when Jack Johnson gets sad. And I just I'm really enjoying that thought, you know? He's just going there, he's like, Taylor was a good girl, never gonna rephrase extra ideas in her brain. And he stubs his toe. What is the sensation in my is this pain?
The ball's in your court now, Dre.
Alright, let's see if I can pull this off here. I have an idea.
Heads up doesn't. Yeah, makes sense.
All right, come on.
Oh!
You dead? Yes!
I think
win!
I am dead.
Get wrecked.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah.
Most damage taken. What an achievement. Alright. Oh, whoa! I pressed circle. Alright.
Yay! A win.
Do you know what I have to say? I do like this joke in the chat. Actually, in most ball games, there's only one court. You really need to take sports class. Not really accurate. Not really accurate, but
Is
sure,
there a
I like
sports
it.
class? Like, welcome to sports.
Keep it classy. Okay, it says, thou shalt not count to 3. 3 will be right out. 4 will be right out.
Like,
Are you picking again? I don't get to pick the
is
backs.
3.
It doesn't take turns, you just get to pick them. Isn't that the one we were just on?
No.
They're usually randomly generated anyway, aren't they?
Yeah.
So yeah, what did you want to talk about? Jimmy? Little Jimmy?
Well, right now I just want to talk about sad Jack Johnson. Like that.
Yeah, I saw how you waited till the show had begun, then repurposed my joke as your own. I caught that.
Maybe. I regret nothing.
It was a fine joke. I take it as a compliment, sir. Oh yeah, you'll be able to do so much damage to me now. Oh no, he will! Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no! No! You really like that fire punch, don't you?
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's not that great.
Oh no! What have I done?
Oh!
Well, this is a fine pickle. But yeah, you were telling me that like Jack Johnson wasn't all that popular over there until the Curious George movie.
Right. Because what would you say sums up Jack Johnson's career better than Curious George?
Well, the funny thing is, over here, like, Jack Johnson was huge when I was in high school. Like, everyone had a fucking Jack Johnson CD in their car, in the little, and freaking women loved Jack Johnson. So it was like, even if you weren't a fan of Jack Johnson, it's like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna put on a little Better Together here and set the mood and
Haha! Suicide premise!
welcome to the party.
This party's just getting started!
Like, I remember I had a Jack Johnson CD that I was playing for these girls who were riding around with me in my car, and they fucking stole it. They stole that CD from me. It's like,
I like your bad boy image. Got my car, got my women in my car partying, got my Jack Johnson. Yeah!
Johnson.
Don't hit the player, hit the game.
Oh man. Okay, what am I gonna do here? What am I? Okay.
Oh, mistake, sir.
Oh, get up the...
Oh, that was close. That was very close.
Damn. Oh, I thought he only took like 5 health from that. I'm like, really? Oh, this is not a good place for doesn't. The MVP from last game.
Oh god! Oh god! Take that, doesn't.
Worse, huh?
Oh, whoa.
No, I guess I do have a topic.
Come on, doesn't. You're in such a strategic position.
Fuck. Damn this game.
Oh, I'm up.
Yeah. Funny how that happens. Fuck. This game's gonna ruin our friendship. Just...
Joe, I really should have taken the time to get off this flammable barrel.
Doesn't still alive? Wow.
Ninth Dimension Gaming says,
Alright.
I saw Sonic Forces gameplay. It's kind of terrible. Sonic Forces does not look great, I think. Come on, join us in the crevice.
Heard that before. Oh god.
Yeah,
what do
you
I
can't
do
you
here?
can't do anything to me though. Unless you know
I?
that you can do exactly 60 damage to the guys in here or no more.
I have an idea.
So many times John's had an idea about a crevice and it's never worked out well. This is a terrible idea. Oh, well, it could have been worse.
Yeah. That worked out for me. Woo! Yeah, no, that Sonic Forces game does look kind of terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because they did Sonic Generations and that was like a special occasion game, you know? Classic Sonic and New Sonic, and I got it, I guess. I was like, yeah, okay, fair enough. Oh, this guy's not in a really... I can't even get out of here. Okay, hold on. But yeah, this one just doesn't look that good, I think. I don't mind Sonic games, but...
What I'm excited about for Sonic Forces is I can finally create my first Sona.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I want. Cause
what I'm really worried about is how they...
Never before have I had the opportunity to, like, represent who I truly am on the inside, which is a pink bunny rabbit.
What I'm really worrying about is that this is a Sonic 3 and Knuckles situation, and that we'll have to wait for the successor to Sonic Forces to find out what he's forcing and to do what.
As soon as you start playing, it's like, no, Sonic, that you need consent for that. No, no.
Okay, that went darker than I was planning on going.
Well, I might as well just keep that ball rolling then and get dark. There is something I wanted to talk about that really kind of bugged me over the week. I saw it on a friend of Owen's Twitter, Lizardface Games. She basically posted this response to like a Twitch rant, and it was a really well done response. And I didn't know what exactly it was about though. So I did my due diligence and I researched what it was about, and oh my god, it was horrifying. So this guy, this Twitch streamer, went on this huge, like, just angry rant, basically about girl gamers and just women in general. It was just really misogynistic and just horrible. And the issue comes from, though, is that we still believe in this idea of, like, like friend zones, you know?
Right.
Like, that's... Holy
oh,
shit.
Spiky. You had a bad day, sir.
And this is something I've talked about before. I have a really, really, really strong hatred towards this idea of of being friend zoned, because it's not a thing. It doesn't exist. Like, no. Like, I don't know how we can convince people that, like, you don't insert friendship to someone and then withdraw sex. Like, it's not an ATM. It's not a vending machine. It doesn't work that way. So, like, it doesn't matter how nice you are to someone. If they don't want to be with you, they don't want to be with you. Like, why is this such a hard thing for people to, especially guys, honestly? No. Like, especially guys have this issue where they just can't, like, get it through their head that, like, no one owes you anything. Just for being a decent person, you know?
Right. And often they
Like,
aren't decent people anyway, because what they're actually doing is deliberately manufacturing a transactional friendship.
Right. You know, and it's just, see you later, Ninth Dimension. It just, I just don't get this, but this guy who won this rant, and it was just horrifying, like, some of the things he was saying. Like, I don't want to quote everything that he said, but it just, he just had this, like, this anger about him that was, like, all based on the idea that, like, oh, Twitch and all these streaming places were, like, his place. Like, no! Fuck. Like, that's
Pretty funny.
that, like, only they were allowed, and he even said that, where he's like these were the places, like, Twitch was the place that people went to because their normal life wasn't great. Like, they got bullied in school and girls wouldn't give them attention and stuff like that, so they went to Twitch, and now apparently Twitch is being overrun by these beautiful women who are playing games and, you know, making their money on Twitch and stuff like that, and he just thought, like, that wasn't okay, like, for some reason, and that, like, these women are somehow abusive to him and the rest of the gaming community because, like, they're pretty, and God, it's just such a, it's just a thing I just don't get. Like, I just don't
Right. And it's definitely a guy problem, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, this is a very... For me, this is clearly an extension of something we've been seeing a lot more lately, which is a deliberate attempt to reclassify every space that women are making kind of headway into as though they are intruders. Do you know what I mean? Like, they don't have a right to be there. And this is what Gamergate was about, you know? This has been going on for a long time. But what's interesting is, despite for a community of people that claim they are, you know, repressed, suppressed, and persecuted and bullied and things like that, they've become more vocal, and as it's become clear that the community at large ultimately doesn't hold them accountable, they have been emboldened to say things that I think on a day-to-day basis we are seeing the alt-right, the Gamergate people, the kind of people who say SJW unironically, right?
Right.
We are seeing them almost every week. We see someone say something that 2 years ago you would have thought, well, it's not going to get that bad. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
With astounding regularity, we are seeing them say things that you couldn't have even imagined that the community would be okay with them saying. And it is, I realize the original fact this analogy is based on is bullshit. But it is the boiling frog thing, right? That you put a frog in water at a low temperature and then gradually increase the temperature and it doesn't notice and gradually boils to death, right? It's this thing.
Right.
It is that. I genuinely think that had they come out and said a lot of the things that people like this are saying, if it had started with rants like this, there'd have been more shock. But it's just become so normalized, more and more. Oh, damn it!
Yes.
It's become so normalized now that it's awful, but it's not even surprising that rant happened. Is it? Do you know what I mean? It's not even a shock anymore. And
like,
this is what happens when you don't slap down that kind of exclusionary behavior immediately.
Right. And the thing is that Twitch gave him a 5-day ban. Like, that's...
Oh, well, I'm sure he'll be really rubbing his wounds over that one.
Right. And then he tried to pull that thing, too, where he went, oh, it was satire. Like, no, it wasn't. Like,
yeah. There was a really interesting article, and it was from an issue of Wired. Someone posted it recently. It was from an issue of Wired, I believe in, like, 1997, right? And it was... someone who'd done an expose about news groups, and there was a news group that was all about fawning over cute animals and cats, right? You know, and talking about cat care. And a news group that was all about lovable cats. And they were being raided by a news group from...
oh, shit.
From a news group that was all about inappropriate humor, right? That was the setup. And what this article was essentially just kind of an early exploration of trolling mentality, right? And that kind of attitude and how it becomes more and more aggressive. And it was the story of how it started off with things like posting stupid advice in the cat column, and eventually became things like eventually it graduated more and more to saying things like someone was posting advice. It was like, oh, my cat is having trouble, it's being fussed by another cat. What shall I do? And one of these trolls came in and said, spray this in the face and it will keep it away. And what it was a different word for hydrochloric acid, you know?
Oh, God.
Right, and it had begun as the relatively innocent kind of trolling, but because they hadn't been able to stop them, it was starting to become like genuinely dangerous advice to animals because they just didn't... They were in a consequence-free environment, right? And it told the story of how the moderator for the cat forum, eventually, they were trying to stem the tide and they were really trying to work on it, and eventually what they did was they managed to find out the universities, because news groups were mostly accessed through universities. They managed to find out the universities where the worst troll organizers were based, and they wrote a letter to the system admins basically explaining the situation. And some people got letters and some people got warnings, and in many cases nothing happened. But in the case of the lead troll, his system admin basically came to him and said, if this continues, you will have your internet access cut off for the entire duration of the time you're at university, right? It will be, you will have no internet access, right? And that's a real consequence. And you know what? He stopped. He didn't make anonymous accounts. He didn't... do you know what I mean? It wasn't this never-ending problem. He was faced with this, we know it's you. If you keep doing it, you will have your internet access removed. And the trolling stopped.
Right.
And when you compare this to the way most social media and most sites are now managing, I realize they have higher user bases now. And I realize there's a lot more anonymity. But, for example, if repeated... Whoa! If repeated abuse of YouTube's terms of service in YouTube got all your accounts IP banned from YouTube, you would have a lot less trolls. If it got your accounts banned permanently from all streams, because this is a person who, you know, has clearly demonstrated they can't behave, that would resolve the problem real fast. But they don't want to do that, because and it's a real short-sighted thing, because in their mind, they don't want to do it because, hey, if I do this, we're losing a customer, right? And this person still has a right to access our services, of course. And what they don't realize is that this creates a climate where only the trolls feel comfortable using the service over a long enough time period. And then the problem with that is, this leads on to another issue where if you have an environment where, 99 people are joking about being racist and joking about being sexist, the one truly racist, sexist person feels much more at home. And it starts off with a ratio of 99 to 100, but then when you have the one genuine racist people who's more at home, then the other one comes along. Whoa! And another one. And another one, and another one. So, by allowing the trolling, you end up, and this is what's happening on YouTube, you end up in a very short amount of time with a user base that isn't satirical anymore, even remotely, does genuinely mean it, and is totally out of control. And now is, because you haven't given them the initial ban, the initial tough ban, you've just given them these softer bans, they're also well versed in how to make second accounts, how to get around the terms of service, do you know what I mean? So if you can't run a site with a thing of, these are the terms and services, and if you break them, you are gone, properly, you just lose control of it forever. And it just shocked me that in 1997, we were dealing with the same issues, and we'd already kind of figured out how you resolve it. You say to people, you will lose access to this service if you... if you don't behave, and you enforce it properly, Anyway, that's my speech over.
So I want to know, in our chat, our audience right now, what are some of your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts on this idea of... this issue of people... I don't even know how to say it properly, but like women on Twitch, on streaming and stuff like that. Like, what are your thoughts on it? Like,
just on women on Twitch. Do you think they should be allowed? Do you think?
Well,
no, I don't. I know what you mean. I'm only teasing, but it was the way you said it was amusing to me.
Yeah. It's just like it's really hard for me to vocalize this because it's such a. It angers me so much. It really does. Like, this is something that
you heard it here first. John is angered so much by women on Twitch. No,
Thank you for taking that out of context.
No, I totally agree. This whole thing of women is ruining our video games is the stupidest thing. It's terrible. But yeah, what do you think of the chat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that we've lost some viewers over this, which is fine. Like, it's not necessarily the most entertaining conversation, but I think it's an important one. I think it's an important one that I think as a people, but more specifically, honestly, as
a people,
men,
as a tribe,
we need to start to have these conversations about it, because too long people have just been kind of ignoring it. They've just been like, oh well, that's happening.
Right. Like, I generally subscribe to the view that men shouldn't talk about what it's like to be a woman, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, and this falls into what I was saying recently. Someone on stream said, hey, shit. do an Irish accent, and I explained that I don't think English people should do comedy Irish accents. As just a historical sensitivity thing, I just don't think it's appropriate. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if you attempt it and you're not 100% sure you can do it, it becomes a comedy Irish accent. So I don't do Irish accents, right? Because it's a complicated, long history, but the feeling in Ireland is they were colonized by Britain. You know what I mean? And and that Britain were the oppressors, and so to then go and go do the whole leprechaun imitation. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's not appropriate, is my opinion. And similarly, I think same attitude towards talking about women's experiences, things like that. But what men absolutely can do and should do is call out shitty behavior from other men.
Right. I mean, it's a conversation that we need to have in terms of, like, the entitlement. You know, like this idea that somehow, like, men are entitled to women based on a personality trait or something like that. You know, it's And it's not. That's not how the real world works, and I think we need to start acknowledging that there are people out there who have this opinion, and it's not a valid one. Like, you know, everyone like always likes to, you know, bring up like, oh, well, they have their right to their own opinions. Sure, you do, but God damn it, yeah, you're absolutely entitled to your opinion, but they can be shitty opinions. Like, they're... And it's like a cultural thing. Like, within, like, you know, geek culture, but also as normal society, there's this big problem about...
Oh, God!
Oh God! What?
What is this?
Ah!
Oh, see you later, man. Oh, that was a tiny explosion. Is the other one going as well? He survived. He was like, yeah. Oh! I will go down with this ship.
What song is that?
It's Dido.
Yeah, there we go.
But, well, that doesn't tell you the song.
Let's put my hands up and surrender.
Yeah, Dido was good. What happened to Dido?
What happened to Dido? Is it maybe a problem that her name was, like, one letter away from being just... Because, even as a kid, like, that was always my first thought. I'm like, is her name Dildo? Like...
Right. I mean, it's not a... It's not a normal name, but it's not a cool, different name. You know, it doesn't straddle that line very well.
Like, is that like her actual name? Like, oh.
I always think it's interesting that the song she's most famous for is probably Stan, and then when you listen to that song, it's nothing like... The whole song is not like the sad bit from Stan. Yeah,
right.
Oh my god, do you know what her full name is?
What's that?
So her birth name is Florian Cloud de Boonvial Armstrong. Don't know how that's pronounced. But she now calls herself Dido Florian Cloud de Boonvial O'Malley Armstrong. Wonder where she got that O'Malley. Maybe she just wanted it.
Right. Oh, God.
I'm calling out some atrocious behavior from another man now. You are atrocious at worms, sir.
Hey, I won the first one, alright? But yes, audience, please, if you have some thoughts on this, please let us know. But I'm gonna, as a call to action,
I thought you were gonna say call to arms then, I was very worried.
No, call to action.
Woo!
Don't accept it anymore.
We are the champions, my friends. John's trying to say important stuff, but I am the winner. I am the winner. I'm a good sportsman, but John is a loser. Dun dun. Of the world. Do 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 do. I'm not done yet.
No, just go nuts.
Hey, I might never get another win again. Do you know how often I beat you in games? I need these. Hit those like and subscribe buttons, guys. We're playing a little bit of Worms Battleground and chatting. That was a legitimate stammer, by the way. It got away from me. I wasn't trying to be hilarious. I have a mild stutter when I'm tired. And that fucking... It picked the middle of chatter. That's a good one, isn't it?
Kind of like you sound like a squirrel there for a second.
Maybe squirrels are actually all like Noel Coward, but fucking... They've got really bad stammers.
They all have like the Scatman Johns.
Well, that is weird, because I was actually walking past a chestnut tree and it was going beep, bop, 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 bop.
If you can translate squirrels, it's like, oh, I don't know what they're saying. Oh, I got this squirrel translator. I'm a scat squirrel.
I'm a scat squirrel. Hazelnuts. Do I like hazelnuts?
Give me that walnut. The other day, actually, me and Owen went on...
Oh, God! Oh, God!
So
did pretty well out of that.
Me and Owen went on a bit of a YouTube hole where we were just sharing Scatman John videos with each other.
I was really worried you were going to say we went on a scat adventure, and I was concerned about the implications.
Oh man, what do I got? I got nothing I can really use here, huh? So I like Scatman John, I really do, but he has some pretty questionable videos. like I think the one that got us. I love the one that got us was Scatman's World. Yeah.
The problem was Scatman John had one good song.
Mm-hmm.
I think
the other songs were good too, but
that's the first track on my new album. The problem was Scatman John had one good song. Sorry, that sounds like a Crash Test Dummy song. Scatman John had only one good song.
Oh, fuck.
Oh,
yeah,
the spiky.
Alright,
I'm coming for you, doesn't. Whee!
Yeah.
Alright.
Bring it. This just looks funny.
What's the most ridiculous thing I could do?
Yeah, if you're lurking there in the chat, please say hi and we'll leave some questions. Oh, really?
I'm going to burn you
right
slow.
Yeah, you just
I want to see how much health. 11. Oh, not bad. That's fine. That's right. I liked that. Yeah. We're a scat podcast. No.
No. Abort!
I'm really surprised that scat singing never caught up as a slang term for farting, really, you know? For noisy poops.
Really? That's the great question you think is facing our societies? Why don't we call scat singing farting?
No, not that way around. Oh yeah, he was down the jazz club farting. Skip scrap.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I'm wedged behind a strawberry.
That's not a strawberry, that's a rock.
Is it? It's a very strawberry-looking rock.
Red rocky fields forever.
Red rocky fields. It was a stretch. It was a real stretch, John. Oh, we can't do that yet.
I don't care.
Oh, I've just made a tactical error.
But yeah, 1940. Yes, I would like to introduce the greatest farter of all time, Ella Fitzgerald.
Making whoopee.
It's a great honor to fart for you people today. Just. She pop boop pop yeah pop boop pop.
Hey, you were the one who said it that way
she
around.
Can really fart.
I meant noisy poops though. I think that's really what we need.
Noisy poops.
Right, that's what we should call them. Scat singing.
Babe, you doing okay in there? Just scatting.
Alright. Oh, you mean... Oh, I was very confused.
Actually, yeah, well...
You're pretty talented.
You're doing very well. There it is.
Wouldn't it be great if you went in and you were like, oh my god, I've had too many burritos. I'm being very British today. I've had too many burritos. It's playing havoc with my lower intestine. You get in there, and your anus just goes skibbity bibbity bobbity bobbity boo.
Get back here.
Yeah, well done, man.
Fuck. This poor sheep. This poor sheep.
You know what? Worse things have happened to sheep in a Worms game. Whoa!
It's like you're at the Taco Bell bathroom, you know, and all the stalls are filled, and just all you hear is there's a chorus of beep bop 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 beep bop. That sounds actually really nice. And okay. Sounds like the barbershop quartet from like BioShock Infinite.
Sweet Caroline.
Just wow, that was
mostly inflicting pain on myself. That went well.
Yeah.
All around 101% successful trip. Ooh, go on, exist.
Great.
You can do it. It's all up to you. Okay. God, I haven't thought about that in a while. South Park movie songs. That is my childhood. I had a very messed up childhood. I'm sorry.
Apparently.
But well done. No, go for it. You should definitely try and get that.
Damn it!
Sorry, I don't know why I just laughed. I don't know why I just laughed to the tune of the Vandals, My Girlfriend's Dead. I was I haven't thought about that song in a while either. That's a good song, man.
We're just gonna do a music podcast again. Does it?
What if I can sing? What if I can sing Kate Bush?
Just 2 hours of. You know, it's a good song. That's a good song.
Aw, fuck you.
Alright, it's not that good of a song. Alright.
Do you do you like the Vandals? Do you know the Vandals? My Girlfriend's Dead. It's a good song.
I'm not very familiar with the Vandals.
I like the Vandals. It's of all those like shitty skater era punk bands. They were my favorite. My Girlfriend's Dead was actually really good. I once had a girlfriend, but then one day she dumped me, and everywhere I go, people would ask me where she was. I don't want to talk about her. Someone always asks about her, so I tell them all, she's dead. My girlfriend's dead, my girlfriend's dead, you see. It's a total lie, but it's easier on me than having to admit that she likes someone else. I'd say it's leukemia, or sometimes bulimia, or a great big truck ran her over and chopped off her head. But it is actually a genuinely catchy song. Oh, well done.
Yeah.
You prick. Worms.
Can you imagine this like back in like the Victorian era? It's like
Whoa.
good show, you rapscallion.
This is way more accurate to proper Worms than Revolution was.
Say you want a revolution? Oh, fuck off!
Well, you know, I'll change the world. Number 8. Number 8.
Number 8.
Or is it number 9?
I don't know.
Run! Run, carrots!
What is this?
It's a suppository. That's what it looked like.
What am I doing here?
I believe you're calling in.
Oh God!
Oh, well done!
What have I done? Oh God, it's hell!
This is one of those weapon choices from when you're the last one on the team trapped in a cave. You know what? I will say this though. You've got mind worms a lot more than you've got your own. Whoa! You say you want a revolution. Well, you know.
Is it over?
Well done, John. You've coated the world with fire. Oh, there we go. Here come the suicides. 'Cause suicide is painless. It brings on many changes. And now our worms are pretty much fucked.
I just brought about the end of the world. Oh,
Good turn, man. Look at the picture. I can't get out from under your worm, by the way.
He's small but dense. Jesus, really?
I feel like Jose Canseco.
Taking steroids?
Yes! I went for a baseballer, and it was the first one I got, John.
A baseballer?
Sorry, they're called bat lords, right?
Yeah.
A pitchman.
Baron von Baseball-y.
I did like, oh, you might not have seen that. I'm trying to remember if you've seen the episode of The Simpsons, but it's the one where the baseball team loses. They say, did they lose again? And Marge says, yeah, but they didn't steal any bases like the other team, so it was really a moral victory.
Here we go.
Oh my god.
Get fucked.
This is why I don't like Christianity.
Right.
Well, this is going well.
Exist just revoked your right to it.
Yeah, come on, Spikey. Give us a week. We'll get there. No, take your time.
Once again, if you're in the chat, please say hi. Interact with us. We're lonely.
Well, at least I got some damage. Am I down? Is that my last worm? Aw.
I think so.
Spikey looking at his hand like, oh man.
What have I done?
You gonna bring hell down upon us again?
I don't know. Do you
know how many years it took me to realize worms had a wind system? And that's what the thing at the bottom was? Like, I ignored it for a lot. I was like, why is my thing just going back?
Ooh, I have to thread the needle here a little bit.
So yeah, you got anything else you want to talk about? You know, I've seen Thor now, we haven't discussed it. That's pretty funny, right? I'm just enjoying worms. Oh, you win.
Yeah, we can talk about Thor.
I saw Thor 2.
Yeah.
I just watched Thor 2 again. I figured Thor 3 is basically the same.
Right.
No, I saw Thor. I liked it.
Mm-hmm. What was your
Next
favorite part?
topic. What was my favorite part? Okay, so I'll tell you what, I'll talk about what I thought about it, and that'll rejigger my memory, because I've actually thought about it for a week. So, when it first started, I was a little bit worried. And which is funny, because this is pretty much exactly what you said. And the reason I was worried was, it's not that it was kind of too funny, but early on, the humor wasn't really balanced out with anything, you know?
Right.
And I didn't really mind the humor, like, I don't mind that it's a comedy action movie. I think that's fine. I think that's the right direction for the character. But what I will say is that pretty much until... Spoilers. Pretty much until... genuine spoil. Until Odin dies, I don't think the film really gets going. In my opinion.
Right.
And that's fair enough, but I feel like there's a lot of... I feel like that beginning could have been reduced. Like, we talked about this a little bit. I'm not going into too much again, but I didn't really think the whole Doctor Strange section was particularly necessary. Hugely. And I wasn't massively enjoying it. It felt to me a little bit like they'd put it at the end of Doctor Strange, and so now had to keep it. Whereas actually, they could have got rid of it. You know?
It's really weird how that happened, too. Because, like, if you remember Doctor Strange, like, that's literally a shot-for-shot recreation.
The post-credit sequence is...
Yeah,
the post-credit sequence isn't a teaser, it's a clip. Pretty much. Practically. for all intents and purposes. I don't know if they did reshoot it or if they, Oh, yeah, I'm going a bad day. So, the Doctor Strange sequence wasn't hugely... Oh dear. That's my worm down. I could have done without that. And then there are other things, like, I did, in context of the whole film, it didn't bother me, but while it was happening, I didn't know if it was going to be good. They deal with the cliffhanger ending to Thor 2 in the most disrespectful way. In a way that is funny. It is legitimately funny, but it is disrespectful of the... affectionately disrespectful, but do you know what I mean? It is... It is a... It's clear that they didn't want this film to be about dealing with the consequences of the end of Thor 2. That just isn't the film they wanted to make. This is a bad move. So they just resolve it very quickly, they resolve it mostly comedically, and that's it, it's done. And so, early on in the movie, when you've got the first action sequence is mostly comedy, the resolution to the cliffhanger happens immediately and is played for laughs, and then the Doctor Strange appearance is, to me, disposable. Not bad, but disposable. The film wouldn't suffer from losing it, right? And that makes up the first, 45 minutes of the movie, almost? The first half hour, maybe?
Right.
So, early on, I was ready to say, this is kind of a disappointment. You know, like, I was going to withhold judgment till I'd seen the end, but I was ready to say, okay. And then something happened. It just started getting better and better and better. And it really preserved the balance between the humor and the... it really preserved the balance between the humor and the genuine consequences better than I thought, because as soon as we get to Odin, that makes the film more serious right off the bat. We start to tackle serious emotional consequences of what's happening, and that it was needed by that point, you know? And then they basically get separated, and they embark on this quest, and Thor ends up on the I forget what the planet is called. Was it Sakaar? But the gladiatorial planet. And Loki is separated, and we start our two separate plots now, which is basically the resistance at home and Thor trying to win his freedom in the arena. From that point on, I think it's great, and I think it's easily the strongest Thor movie. But I was a little concerned at the beginning that it wasn't going to get there. I will, however, say, after you saw this one, you said that you were pretty much ready to say it was one of your top 5 Marvel movies. It didn't get there for me, because I honestly, I kind of felt... Oh, come on. Oh. At least I did something, man, you know?
It's just that worm just like watch that whole missile go up like, you son of a bitch. Like,
I think it's a good movie, and I think it's... I don't think it ultimately manages to land the balance between humor and action as well as, say, either of the Guardians films. And that's mostly because I think it's a little lopsided early on in that beginning. And I will say that it feels a little bit inconsequential, but I actually think that is... Like at the end of it, I felt like I'd seen a good movie and a good fun movie, but I didn't feel like I'd seen a... Like, yeah, that was the next great Marvel movie, right? And that's not a criticism of the film, because I actually think most of that is to do with the fact that this is the third Thor movie, coming after 2 other Thor movies that, while I like them both, I would agree they were equally inconsequential. So it's dealing with established characters, and it tries to make them into more than they've been up to this point, and does a good job, I think. But it's hard for the third movie in to suddenly be like, yeah, I really, really do care about all these people, even if the... So, I think it started off very silly, and I think it started off very unimpressive, and then I think by the end of it, they actually managed to get to something about Thor and Loki and Asgard that the previous 2 Thor movies hadn't managed to do. That's how I felt about it. So I think they did good, but they started off badly, and mostly due to it being a different movie to the sequels, but still to the 2 prequels, but still having to follow them. That's a difficult position to be in, but I think by the end they landed it and they did a really good job. That's how I feel about Thor.
Yeah, I mean, no, I can agree with most of that. like when I said like it's like one of my top, it's I've gotten to the point with I've really gotten to the point with Marvel where they're good movies, they really are, but I feel like they've started to really play into their whole like they're getting too grand, you know?
Right. This is why, for example, I liked Doctor Strange, I think, more than some people. Because, for me, Doctor Strange was getting back to Marvel movies like Iron Man, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A bit too much. Getting back to Iron Man a little too much, but, you know? Yeah. I agree.
Like, don't get me wrong, like, I do like those movies a lot. I love the Marvel movies. It's just we've been gearing up for Infinity War for so long now.
Yeah.
At this point, where it's like every movie that comes out is like this, like we're just inching at this point. It's like we're not even running towards Infinity War anymore. It's just this slow drag towards it, and they're like, oh, it's going to be amazing, it's going to be huge. But we're losing, I think, some of the initial, like, just fun of the Marvel.
Right. Well, it's interesting because if you look at... Sorry, I thought you were done. Carry on. Play PSN chat.
And for me, Thor brought that back. Like,
I agree
I thought that, you know, Doctor Strange was, as well, a fun movie. But Thor for me was just better at it, you know? It was like,
right. Well, here's the thing. So I would say with Phase 1, right? Mm-hmm. The tone of those movies is very much establish a tone for the Avengers, right? That's the setup. Phase 2 is very much about now do some different things with it, right? But the problem with Phase 2 is while Phase 2 is about that, it fails, right?
Right.
Age of Ultron is Avengers 2. Thor 2 is very much like Thor 2 feels like Age of Ultron. Do you know what I mean? It feels very similar to that movie. I like Thor 2 because I like most of these movies. But I will say right off the bat, it is my opinion that Thor 2 is, while being okay as a movie, in my mind, is absolutely symptomatic of everything that was wrong with Marvel movies in that period, where they were getting a little uneasy, you know? Thor 3 for me, and and then we got a phase after that where we started getting Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man. They're now entering this phase where everyone you get is different, you know? Different in tone, different in artistic style and things like that, which I didn't like about the DC universe, but the DC universe hasn't had any establishing time. That's really the issue with those films, isn't it? You know, you don't ever feel like you're in a grounded, consistent universe, you know? Like Suicide Squad doesn't feel like it's the Man of Steel universe, you know? And Wonder Woman doesn't feel like it's the Batman versus Superman universe, even though it's a very different time zone.
And like, if we would have got Thor 3, like, right after, like, Iron Man, it wouldn't...
Right.
Like, the story wouldn't work, but if we had that tone right after Iron Man, I don't think it'd work either, because the reason Thor 3 works so well is that we know these characters, they're established, we know what they've done in the universe already.
Right.
We don't have to remake that foundation. We can just take them and put them in a fun situation. Right?
Like, you could not have had this film without the current 3 preceding films where Loki's been a main character. He would not work in the way he works in this movie without the establishment he's had.
Right.
He's not even a big part of this film. Really. He's in it, but he's a fairly prominent character, but he is not hugely relevant to the plot or its machinations, aside from the fact that he's responsible for Odin's disappearance, you know? But it is an ensemble movie. Thor, Valkyrie, and I have to say, this is Heimdall's film. At last.
Yeah.
He gets shit to do, and he's a good character. I like Heimdall a lot. He's always been interesting. They've always cast him well and written him well and done interesting things with him, but he's not really had much to do in the past, right? Like, I'm trying to think what he does. Obviously, you've seen in Thor 1, he's just the gatekeeper and he does stuff. Thor 2,
right.
He kinda does stuff. And in Thor 2, Asgard gets invaded as well.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do what he does in this one. In this one, you get to see him be a personality and use his powers in the service of other people in a different way. No, I'm kind of with you with Thor 3. I don't think it's one of my favorite Marvel movies just because... Well, do you know what? I think it probably is one of my favorite Marvel movies in a lot of ways. I think it is one of the most fun. I think it is just purely a good, fun movie. But I thought Guardians 2 and Guardians 1 were good, fun movies that were also very, very moving. And I don't think it ever got there for me. But it did get to Thor in a way that I don't think these films have yet as a character.
Well, like, for me, I think, like, and this might be a case of, I suppose it'd be a situation that, you know, you're dealing with over in the UK as well. But there's the bit towards the end, right? Spoilers, people. There's a bit at the end where they actually do a really clever thing where Thor loses an eye. Right?
Yes, that to me is where this is where the film really starts to get the balance at the end, and with the ending for Asgard as well.
He loses an eye, which is actually what makes it so clever is that it's actually that is essentially a tale from Norse mythology. Is Odin purposely loses an eye to gain knowledge beyond what he could see. Right. Like, that was a trade-off. And so what you have is Thor loses an eye and then now understands things better.
Yeah.
And there's a really great message in it where Odin essentially tells him, like Asgard isn't a place, it's the people. And it's a really, really touching sentiment, especially nowadays, especially like what what I'm dealing with here over in the United States. And it's a take on what, like, patriotism actually means.
Right.
You know, so many people lose sight of, like, patriotism isn't a love of a land. It should be the love of the people, you know? And
yeah. And I think that's good. And I think the ultimate destruction of Asgard is good. And I think the relationship between Hela as this abandoned child is interesting. But at the same time, I don't think they don't get into that as much as they always could, for me. And the weird thing is, we're almost getting into a debate stance on this, but I think we probably agree on Thor as Ragnarok almost totally. It is a very fun movie. It is easily the best Thor movie. It's probably the strongest Marvel movie that isn't called Captain America or Guardians for a while. Right? Like, I mean, let's get the list up and see what we've had recently. And I could tell you to rank them again for fun, even though I did last time. But you always do. As bigger the list gets, you always do it. It's still funny to me.
I'll say that Thor, if nothing else, Thor gave us maybe one of my favorite characters in a movie in a long time. Korg.
Well, what's interesting about him is he is even more of an out-of-place comic book character than the rest of the movie. a comedic character. He is overtly a silly comedy. So much I liked about him. Do you know what I liked the most?
The voice of the director?
I did. Do you know what I liked the most about him?
What's that?
That's a normal working class voice talking the way normal working class people talk in a big blockbuster movie as a heroic character, kind of, you know. And I just liked that. I just liked it. Very quotable, very fun, but not overused. Like he comes up every now and then at the end or the start of a sequence just to kind of cap it off, you know. And I really enjoyed that. Yeah, it's not all gone. As long as the foundations are intact, we can rebuild. Oh no, those foundations are gone.
That bit. It's like, oh, what happened to him? Oh no, he died. I felt really bad about it.
So I've been carrying him around for a few days. Oh, you're not dead!
I beat Owen. I beat Owen. You say you want to beat Owen.
The other one,
you know, you just gotta be John.
the other one I really liked was oh, he fought the champion, Duncan. Duncan, hey Duncan. Oh yeah, Duncan's dead.
Oh, no. Duncan's dead.
Another
No,
Duncan.
Doug.
Oh, Doug. Doug's dead. Another Doug.
Yeah.
Lord of
Another
Thunder.
day, another Doug.
I will say this. Not a criticism. I don't want this to be taken as a criticism. I liked the Hulk. I liked the Hulk in this movie. I like Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. Not really that important to the over. Do you know what? He's there.
I think
they have some good scenes.
His role is definitely more self-serving. Honestly, like
yes,
we're gonna have it like when it comes to his next appearance. It's gonna be a much more interesting character than
they want
Hulk
you to
ever
remember
was.
he's there,
right?
And they want you to remember what's going on with him. I do actually. He has one of my favorite moments in the movie because he actually reaches a cool character moment, really. Because the thing about I mean, it's very similar to his character moment at the end of the Avengers, but the thing about the Hulk and Bruce Banner, in almost all his incarnations, he doesn't want to be the Hulk, right? It's an accident. He doesn't consider himself to be a superhero. He considers himself to be more of a threat. And that is, that's pretty much in keeping with the character we've seen so far. But we've seen over the course of these movies attempts to bring him back as a hero. But when he manages to turn back to Banner, which is interesting, this idea that because it's obviously loosely based on Planet Hulk, and in the Planet Hulk story, he can't turn back to Banner because the planet they're on is too hostile for Banner, right? But here they build this plot, which I am sure is gonna play a part in the Hulk story going forward. They establish that he is losing his ability to switch back from the Hulk, right? And he's concerned that he won't be able to maintain it anymore. And he's coming to be a scientist, you know, to help. When he sees that dog... And
God, that is the funniest part of the whole fucking movie.
Right, but it's also a really good character moment. He is resistant to the idea he's going to become the Hulk, and he sees that those people aren't going to get away, and he makes a choice to potentially sacrifice Banner forever to help people. And I like that. I thought that was really good. Followed up by one of the funniest moments in Hulk history, I think.
Yeah.
And do you know what really sold it?
It was so brutal, too.
Right,
like,
you could hear his bones crunch. And his arm was like twisted around his neck. And that's that was also the exact words I was going to use when I said, you know what made it sold it? It was so brutal. It was visceral. That
just
impact.
the way he bounces, just that.
Right.
And the funny thing is
I hadn't
you saw it coming a mile away. You know, that was the thing about it.
I knew he was going to. Yeah, that he wasn't going to transform when he hit. I have to say though, it took me a while to realize. Oh, the Hulk's going to fight that giant dog. I didn't click that that's where they were going with that for a bit.
Right.
I will say it does have the traditional Marvel thing of. The villain has more of a backstory than normal, and she's more interesting in supporting things as normal. She isn't massively involved Do you know what I mean? She
Right.
is the cause to have a... This is one thing Marvel really seems to have trouble getting right. Like, I would say... I'm trying to think of what villains I've really enjoyed in Marvel movies recently. I think Guardians 2 has probably one of the best villains in Marvel movie history, which is interesting because Guardians 1 doesn't have a great villain.
Right.
It's a great film, but...
It's me. I didn't realize that.
Yes, it is you. I like the villain in... Oh, Spider-Man Homecoming. Terrific villain.
Yes.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2, terrific villain. Civil War works with a villain that is kind of disappointing, but makes it work for the plot. Winter Soldier, good villain.
Oh, God.
But then if you look at, I think, Thor Ragnarok, very interesting backstory to the villain, not really used that well. Doctor Strange might be the worst. Like, he is the most inconsequential villain. Oh, no, Thor 2. Thor 2 has the worst villain. You really have to watch Thor 2 to see how hopelessly pathetic that that villain is. Because I've told you before, haven't I? It's Christopher Eccleston, and I love Christopher Eccleston, so I was like, oh, yeah, I will go see Thor 2 for him. It could be anybody. It could have been anybody.
Who has the worst villain? Iron Man 2.
What, Whiplash?
Yeah, Whiplash is fucking terrible.
Do you know what the problem with Whiplash is, actually? He's way better the first time Tony beats him than the second time.
Right. Well, and then, like,
Whoa, what? that fight on the race course is way more interesting than that fight with 1,000 robots in the botanical garden, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I realized recently, by the way? What I think is wrong with Age of Ultron? Did I say this to you? I've been thinking about this recently, and I've realized what's wrong with Age of Ultron. And it's what's right with Civil War. Everybody, when Civil War came out, was like, oh, Civil War is just an Avengers movie, but they're calling it a Captain America movie. But when you watch it, it's not. That is a Captain America movie, right?
Right.
With other Avengers in. Age of Ultron should have been an Iron Man movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, we talked about that.
Did we? I couldn't remember if I'd said it on a stream or if I'd said it here. But yeah, if they'd cut out a few characters, bumped up Tony's time a little bit, that would be a better movie. Because it's explicitly about Tony Stark, right?
Right.
And the mistakes in Tony Stark's philosophy. Leading to Chris' mistakes. Age of Ultron's a really weirdly forgettable film, isn't it? There's so much I like about it.
Is.
Like, I
forget about it all the time.
There's so much I like about it, and there's so much I don't like about it. Like, I always think, how much better would that movie be if they got rid of the whole Vision plot and gave Ultron a better plot? Because I like Vision. I don't think there's anything wrong with Vision as a character. But he's been in, what, 2 movies? And his whole origin is... I used to think it was good that they put they had him pick up the hammer as a shorthand for credibility because they did it well, right? But they needed a shorthand for credibility because they'd basically given him nothing to do, and they needed him to save the day.
I'm very curious about the Mjolnir screening process. You know, or like, oh, only the most honorable and blah, 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 those worthy can carry it. But it's like, Thor's always an asshole.
Well, it's interesting because, have you ever heard this story about the creation of Beta Ray Bill?
Yeah.
And how the guy who created it said that when he was thinking about it, he basically said, if Captain America tried to pick up the hammer, it wouldn't really work because he's this symbol of America and patriotism, and that isn't appropriate, right? And then he said he used Superman as an example. Obviously, it wouldn't happen, but he said if Superman tried to pick up the hammer, that also wouldn't work because it's a weapon for killing ice giants, and Superman doesn't kill. So it would assess that he wasn't. Oh my god!
Yeah.
It would assess that he wasn't appropriate. And I think that is kind of interesting. That worthiness for the hammer isn't just based on are you the nicest person, but will you utilize this hammer in the way it needs to be used, you know?
Oh, I know, like at the end of like the Thor mythology, like Mjolnir becomes like sentient and can finally talk, and just like, I just want to build things. Quit using me to kill.
I was for building houses. Well, not anymore. It's trash now, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Someone spoiled that for me, by the way. I was very annoyed. Someone
It's spoiled in the trailer.
retweeted it. Is it?
Yeah.
I hadn't known.
That was actually a big thing that they from the trailer. You know, something kind of weird was yeah, let's go.
I still can't believe. Sorry, go on. I thought you were lining up shop.
Oh God.
Hold on.
They reshot that, like, because if you watch like the first trailer, like they're like in an alleyway or something like that, and he throws a hammer and she grabs it and you know, it breaks apart. But in the actual movie, they're in the field.
So how do you feel within the context of the of the Marvel universe as we've seen it so far? Not specifically drawing for the comics, but this specific version of Thor. How do you feel about getting rid of the hammer and giving him thunder powers instead?
Well,
I'm sure the hammer's coming back, by the way.
Powers. Yeah.
Sure, but he's never used them before.
Yeah.
He's never used them before as, like, He's always used them as an extension of the hammer in these movies.
Right. Oh, I dig it. I dig it, you know, because, yeah, he's supposed to be the thunder god.
Yes.
And although I do like it when he realizes, like, the full extent of his powers, he just immediately becomes Raiden.
Right.
like when he does that move, like where he spins through them all, like it would have been, I think it would have been great if when he did it, he just went.
There is something I want to say that I like about this movie, and this is not just about Marvel movies. This is something I like that flies in the face of like all movies. Mm-hmm. This movie has 3 action scenes, really. Like, not counting the kind of fight, because that's very plot-driven, right? It has 3 action scenes that are there for, like, yeah, this is our action scene. It has one at the beginning, to the tune of Immigrant Song. Yep. There's one at the end, to the tune of Immigrant Song. And it has a spaceship battle, right? Like a chase, right? Mm-hmm. All 3 of those scenes are restrained, do not go on longer than necessary, and contain character moments to punctuate the action so you can follow it. They are not mindless, never-ending battle. Because even some of the best Marvel movies, I don't know about you, but like if I wore a watch, I would be checking it. They just, I don't like that. I'm of the view that if you make an action scene go on too long, particularly a fight, most of the time people just tune out, right? You just can't follow it. They've been really good at doing these lately, but like I would say, I'm trying to think of one that I think is particularly bad. I don't much like. I like the film, but I don't much like the battle at the end of Winter Soldier, for example, on the aircraft carriers.
Right.
Or you know exactly what I mean. Iron Man 3 has a really terrific example where they're like, all the suits are going to get in and get involved. They fly around for ages in the dark, so you can't see any of them.
Right.
And it's like, who thought that? Like, you cannot see in Iron Man 3 those suits at all. Like, that scene might as well be.
They're just blue and white lights whizzing around.
Right. And it goes on for, it feels like hours. This is not like that at all. And it's very, very well thought out. For example, the first fight scene is mostly played for laughs, right? Mm-hmm. It's Immigrant Song, it's very ostentatious, but it's a funny action scene, right? I thought to bring that... And that's a song that can be funny. Like, it can sound odd. To bring that same music back and play it more sincerely, I think they did good with that. I liked it.
I guess they actually originally...
Oh, thanks. I was really worried how I'd get out of the tunnel to fight more with that there.
Oh, fuck. Apparently, the original idea is they actually wanted to redo the song with different lyrics that were Thor-centric, you know?
But the song has Thor-centric lyrics already.
Right.
Hammer of the gods.
I come from a land of ice and snow.
Have you ever seen that video of Jack Black trying to get the rights to that song for the School of Rock soundtrack?
No.
So I don't know if you remember School of Rock. That song's in it when they drive back from
that movie.
When they drive back from the first audition, you know. Mm-hmm. And they're just singing it in the car, you know. But Led Zeppelin are notoriously... Oh, they were, actually. I don't know how they got it for Thor, but they are notoriously guarded when it comes to their rights.
Right.
And so Jack Black, he...
Except for Immigrant Song, because that song has been in fucking everything lately. It was in was it Shrek 3?
Well, I wonder if Jack Black getting in touch with them directly was part of it, but he prepared this video to send to Led Zeppelin, where he stood in front of it's the audience from the end of the film, right?
Right.
And he's basically explaining, look, we got a great movie, and we need the Immigrant Song to make it work. He's like, it'll be a great movie without it, but it'll be an even better movie with your song. And he gets the whole crowd to sing the dun 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 ah. He gets the whole crowd to sort of sing along with it, and that was a video to send to them to say, can we please use the Immigrant Song? It's a really weird video on the special features of the DVD. School of Rock is a really great...
I beat Owen! I beat Owen!
What I like about School of Rock is it comes from the era where you could have a family movie that ended with the joke, I've touched your kids and I'm pretty sure they've touched me too. I do like that movie.
I think it's great. Like, I'm loving this sort of thing that, not just in Marvel movies, but I've seen it in other movies now too, where they're utilizing like these songs in really fun ways. Like, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy had the whole soundtrack, you know, where it's just, we're going to play Redbone at the beginning, and we're going to play, you know, all these different songs throughout, and like they're not really in like sync, like the tone is off.
It is deliberately supposed to be the music he's listening to, and I like that. And I can't think of too many other films that have done that, except for maybe High Fidelity, I think does that.
High Fidelity did it. The new movie that Edgar Wright did,
Baby Driver.
Baby Driver, that's a big one.
But I'll say something else good about Thor. When you heard the Immigrant Song in that trailer, I'm sure a lot of people thought, okay, this is going to be another like modern soundtrack movie. No, it's just that one song. And it was so much so that when we were going in, Beth and I were talking about what we thought like Doctor Strange was going to do in the movie. And I said, I think he's going to give Thor a Walkman with a mixtape of his favorite songs.
With Immigrant Song.
It just looked like that's what they were doing with it. Because that's what Suicide Squad did. They were like, hey, let's just take the Guardians thing, do it badly, and replace all of Guardians' weird, obscure, oddly fitting songs you half remember but will grow to love with songs that you know really, really, really well and don't want to hear again on this film. Like, I love every song on the Suicide Squad soundtrack, right? But it was like they compiled a list called Obvious Choices.
Oh, come on.
You chump.
Just remember, I'm right now winning 4-1, alright? Like, don't chump me.
Oh, no, Roger's gonna turn this ship around. Come on, Roger. Oh, this is too high to jump, is it?
With the ship. No. But I've been really enjoying just the use of music in movies lately. It's been like, yeah, the Suicide Squad was pretty bad.
Well done, me.
That's twice now.
Amazing. Suicide Squad was like, it's not just me, right? Suicide Squad was way worse than you could even imagine, right? Like,
Oh,
it was
terrible.
all good songs, but every time it came on, my reaction was just like, oh, yeah, of course it's Paint It Black. No, Sympathy
Right.
for the Devil. Of course it is.
Yeah.
What else would it be? That's not the effect Guardians has the first time you watch it. If that's what they thought the Guardians... Like, did they just think, oh, I bet Guardians couldn't afford these terrific songs? How did you just walk past a
Right.
mine without setting it off?
It was a dud. There's some mines that are just duds.
Ah, fair enough. Yeah, but Suicide Squad to me is still the worst attempt I've ever seen to copy a good gimmick.
Where am I?
Suicide Squad's also that movie. Whenever I think of Suicide Squad, I'm like, this is the movie where someone thought you needed 5 opening character montages to, like...
Right.
Like, I feel like we were, like, 2/3 of the way from that movie, and they were still going, let us introduce you to the team! Harley Quinn! Yeah, we know! We've seen it, like, 3 times now! But then that's the one that they went back and re-edited it. They got the people who made the trailer to re-edit the whole movie. Like
We don't do movies. We just do trailers. Like,
it's really
so you're getting 12 montages.
it's really hard for me to look at what DC's doing and look at decisions like that and not just think, well, no, you're idiots. You like no one could think that was a good course of action, surely. And then you've got all these aggressive DC fans on on the Twitters, like harassing movie reviewers for not liking. Ugh. I hear Justice League's getting some good previews though. Some good early feedback. Pretty good.
But like, I think I've said before, like I'm a huge fan of
100 feet tall, looming over the city like a giant.
God damn it. God damn it. I hate you so much.
You thought I'd forgotten, right?
Oh, shit.
Oh, well done. Oh, were you using the big mortar?
Yeah, oh, fuck.
The big mortar is basically like a gamble. If you have already messed up your life, it might be worth... it might be worth trying it out.
Mess up your life. That's pretty extreme. It's like, oh, shit, well...
If you are
I'm
Seymour from the Little Shop of Horrors...
It's like, I'm playing Worms with a British man at...
That's it.
5:30.
My life is over.
I've ruined... I've made some mistakes. But no, I really love moments like clearly designed to be moments in movies like with Thor.
That went well.
Yeah, sure did.
I thought, what would a close quarters big mortar be like? And I think it was productive.
Yeah, but that when they first bring out Immigrant Song, you know, like that is a great moment, and I couldn't help but just smile.
Did you expect to hear it again?
No, I didn't.
And wouldn't you say the emotional impact the second time was completely different?
Yeah, it's, you know, like...
Oh, you really taught that rock a lesson?
It blended into the background, shut up. But, like, Marvel movies are really good for these, like, moments. Like, I can tell you right now, like, one of my all-time favorite scenes from all the Marvel movies is actually Avengers, the first Avengers. There's
Not
this
Captain
great
America,
scene.
the first Avenger?
No.
Whoa! Oh. I was
What do you do?
I was selecting, I thought it was already selected, but it had popped off the menu, so I was trying to select the weapon on the thing. And, yeah, I immediately fired it into the ground. Which means I can discredit this if you win, because it was an accident myself. You didn't win, I let you win.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Go on, favorite scene.
Yeah, whatever you say, Trump.
Can I just say how much, while you're lining up your shot, I'm going to interrupt to say how funny it was to see Thor repeatedly attempting Black Widow's, like, calm down speech.
Hey, sun's setting, big guy. Stop saying that.
Yeah, dude, sun's getting low, getting real low. Yeah, that's what I meant when I think the film has a really healthy, complete and total disrespect for the other movies, an affectionate one, you know?
Right. It's taking the piss, you know. It's.
Oh yeah, you're going all British. Have you been doing this with too long? They don't say taking the piss in the US, right? That's our phrase. That's our word.
Yeah. I'm taking it back. I'm just... my favorite moment is actually from Avengers when Loki does his like big speech in front of the crowd, you know, or it's like isn't this better? Like, you know, and he's about to obliterate that old man who you know steps up, and right before the shot like hits, Captain America appears with the shield and blocks it. Yeah, it's like that is just a great moment. It's just like the dialogue in that the dialogue in that scene's terrific too. When he says, "There are no men like me. There are always men like you." It's just very good, very memorable. Yeah, and it's something like I said. I thought that Marvel was losing their grip on like heroics. Remember when we were talking about Wonder Woman? Because honestly, if you really think about these Marvel movies, there's not a ton of heroic moments. There's fights against villains, but there's not a ton of... Marvel movies are not the stories. These current Marvel movies, they are not the stories of people who go around saving people. Spider-Man Homecoming's got a lot of it. Yeah. But that's Spider-Man. And that's why I like Spider-Man. But yes... They've all followed the Iron Man model. People always give Man of Steel shit for that final scene where they obliterate the city, right? Like, oh, what kind of hero is he? You know, people say. But like, you think about like Iron Man 1. There's a fight like during that final scene. They straight up just go into like oncoming traffic and shit and cause accidents. I will say right now, of all the problems I have with Man of Steel. That ending battle is not really one of them. Like, the big common problems you hear are, oh, Superman destroys a lot of the city. He's Superman. He's fighting an alien who's already destroying the city. It's not that big a deal. And the other one is, and then he kills Zod. Well, you know, if you're gonna... The movie, Superman doesn't kill. And if Superman did kill, that scene where they have to contrive a situation where he breaks his neck wouldn't work. Right. Like, it wasn't like he did it out of, like, cold blood, you know? It wasn't like he snapped Zod's neck and then smiled. I don't have a problem with that at all. I do have a problem with the fact that I don't think... Like, I get that they contrived that scene, but it's like... one of my big issues with that movie is Superman doesn't save a lot of people in the film. There's the oil rig thing at the beginning, but he doesn't rescue people. There's no scene in Man of Steel where Superman, in the Superman suit, save someone from a falling debris or pull someone out. You know what I mean? That scene isn't in the film. And Wonder Woman overtly goes out of its way to say, we're doing that scene. We're doing the saving people scene. And I loved that about Wonder Woman, really. It's my favorite bit about it. But like, yeah, I mean... Like we talked about when we talked about Wonder Woman, is that's what I think I love the most about Wonder Woman is that above that cluster bomb's a gamble, isn't it? Oh yeah. So when your life's already ruined, and but yes, and that's what I liked about the Hulk moment at the end of Thor Ragnarok. That final battle is about saving people, right? And we haven't had that except maybe. I did love... Damn it! Oh my god. What the hell? You imbecile. There was a rock there again. Anything dark brown is a rock. Anything the grey colour. I did like... Because I just wasn't expecting it. It makes complete 100% rational sense, and yet I was completely not expecting the first words out of Bruce Banner's mouth to be, what's going on with Sokovia? Did we do that? That was funny. Yeah. Like,
'Cause
that happened 2
that's-
years ago.
That's where he's been. And you forget that it was the Hulk that made the decision to leave, not Bruce.
Yeah, I mean, I think they really set up a really interesting thing. I don't even know if they intended to do this with the Hulk, but they kind of set up an interesting thing about like the nature of the Hulk.
Right.
Without realizing, is like, oh, I kind of got it. Like he speaks more now. He can, do all this. He can put together sentences, and he has like decisions other than just smash. And it dawned on me that like, oh, I get it. Like, as the Hulk is out, like
he
when
learns as the Hulk.
Yeah, he is learning
Yeah.
independently of Banner.
A lot of people
there.
A lot of people have bitched about how much the Hulk talks and how smart the Hulk is in this film. He has been operating solely as the Hulk for about 2 years, and he has the intellect and the vocabulary of a 2 to 3 year old.
Right.
Kind of. You know what I mean? That's.
I mean, it's heartbreaking when Hulk friend, don't leave.
Yeah.
That whole thing, and he acts like like a 2-3 year old would. Like when Thor tries to leave and gets in the ship, he just shows up like no, and he starts breaking things. I do really love that moment in Thor where it's like, okay, I just can't think about the Hulk, can't think about the other guy. Just keep it out of my mind. And they immediately turn the corner into parade in his honor.
I also like that they really nailed that. You can make fun of a character, and you can use a character primarily to make fun of himself a little bit, and still keep their credibility. So Thor getting tetchy because the access code for Thor is not strongest Avenger.
Right.
I mean, it's dumb.
And it's Point Break.
And it should undermine his credibility. You should be like, well, he's totally egotistical and an idiot. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But he's not. He's not an idiot. He's not totally egotistical. He just is nobility, right? He's got the arrogance of royalty. And they play that up in this film, that he is royalty and acts like it. We haven't talked about it yet, but what was the character's name? The Valkyrie. She was great. She was terrific.
Oh, yeah, she was great. Oh, did you hear? I hope this actually happens. I really do. I guess the actresses who play Scarlett Johansson and what's her name? Tessa Thompson, I think. She who plays Valkyrie. I think.
I didn't catch the actress's name.
That's she plays like the CEO or the board member from Westworld.
Oh, I knew I recognized her. I didn't realize that's who it was.
I didn't recognize it at first until I looked her up. Oh, that was her from Westworld. Yeah. But I guess her was it then Alison Brie, who's gonna be Captain Marvel. Those three, and then Zoe Saldana, who plays Gamora, have been getting together and trying to come up with like treatments and things like that to try to put together an all-female Marvel movie.
I'd watch that. I'd watch that in a heartbeat.
It would be. Oh yeah, I would absolutely watch that. I mean, we haven't seen, what Captain Marvel is going to be like. Well, I'm curious what that's going to be because it's supposed to be set in the 90s.
It's going to be tricky to fit in if they're planning on doing Gamora, Captain Marvel,
Black Widow, and
Valkyrie. Obviously, there's a lot of different chronologies to get together. But if they can try and get Guardians, Thor, and the timelines of it is kind of dumb anyway. Like, how long ago did the Hela stuff happen? And do you know what I mean? So you can't be too precious about it. But I would love to see that. I'd just love to see a Black Widow movie. Oh my god, what have I just done?
What?
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I mean, because to me, I don't think it's going to be too difficult to get Captain Marvel, Gamora, and Valkyrie together.
And doesn't have to be a big role, but Aunt May's got to be in it. She has to make an appearance.
Marissa Tomei?
Right. She has to make an appearance. You know what I mean?
Right.
Can I just say, by the way, I'm happy for the Marvel Cinematic Universe to move on from Robert Downey Jr. now.
Yeah.
I don't mind his role in Spider-Man: Homecoming, but I don't think it was the slam dunk they thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make that movie the way he made Civil War better. Because he does improve Civil War. His presence in Civil War...
Oh,
well
shit.
Done. His presence in Civil War makes that film a better film. His presence in Homecoming doesn't massively affect it. In fact, I think I'd like Homecoming more if it was mostly happy and less Tony Stark. I know it is mostly happy, but you know what I mean? Can I just say, totally different movie way back, but I don't even know if I said this at the time, but I've been thinking a lot about Spider-Man: Homecoming, and Happy Hogan is a fucking idiot. He should have got fired for his performance in that film. Like, he doesn't contribute to stopping the villain at all. Just makes it all worse by refusing to do his job.
Idea, like that whole plan of theirs is ridiculous. It's
to
we're gonna
move
take
all
all
the
these
stuff
incredibly
in
all
one
these incredibly
plane.
popular thing. Yeah, put him on a remote controlled plane with no security at all. Like, we're just gonna. It's like, what? Who thought that was a good idea? Like,
and then when the kid phones up and says, "Hey, I think they're gonna steal it," be like, click.
Yeah. It's.
I'm looking forward to watching that
honestly,
again. That's coming out on Blu-ray soon. I want to rewatch it.
Yeah, I do too. But honestly, like, I still maintain, like, I liked it, but it's.
Oh, I thought you'd taken damage.
It's not.
Damn it.
It's not my. Definitely not one of my favorites.
I liked it a lot. The more I think about Michael Keaton's character, the more I like it. I think he is. I just think he's exceptional, really, in that film. I think. Oh god, what's the actor's name again? I've forgotten his name. Peter Parker. What's he called?
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. I think he's good. I think he's probably the best casting for Spider-Man we've had yet. And I like that we've got a Spider-Man movie that has really, for the first time, played up the fact that it is kind of ironic that Spider-Man is a kid, and he calls himself Spider-Man, and he wants to be a hero like the big boys, but he's a kid, and he's not ready for this. Spider-Man, what I like so much about Spider-Man Homecoming, whoa, okay, is it does the thing we're always saying Batman needs to do. It doesn't make the Batman mistake of, just because the character is famous and important in the real world as a fictional character, he should be famous and important in the comic book world he inhabits, right? Homecoming gets that right. Probably better than... Like, I don't think it's the best Spider-Man movie. If I were to rank all the Spider-Man movies, it would go 2, 1, Homecoming, 3, Amazing 1, Amazing 2, for me. Because I just don't enjoy those Amazing movies. But I think being better than one of the Raimi movies is a pretty good achievement, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, 3. It's not hard to be better than 3.
3, for me, 3 gets a pass because as loaded with problems as it is at least the third movie in a set of consistent characters we've come to like. You know? That's the one thing holds it together. I will also say, I've seen a defense... Oh! I have seen a defense of the emo dancing scene that I actually think works. Which is that the symbiote doesn't... The symbiote alters your personality, right? Removes your inhibitions, gives you more aggression, gives you more... it amplifies your negative emotions and your positive emotions, but it's affecting Peter, right? He's just split up from Mary Jane. He's angsty. He thinks he's cool. He thinks he's the most powerful person in the world. If you look at everything we've learned about Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, in the first two movies, and you said if he got rid of all his ambitions and did exactly what that version of Peter Parker thought was the coolest thing he could do, it would be that.
Absolutely.
And that works when you think about it like that. That is absolutely what that version of Peter would think is, yeah, let's go be suave and impress the ladies. You know?
I mean, that's what I think is cool. Like, I don't know why everyone's upset with that scene. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, I like that. I don't have a problem with it.
I mean, who hasn't walked out of their crappy apartment and it goes, you know what? I'm gonna saunter. You know, I'm just...
Well, that's the thing. But that's exactly the thing. It's stupid, but he has reduced his inhibitions, increased his confidence and aggression, but he's still a nerd. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's still Peter Parker, super nerd. I thought that... Because I thought that scene was dumb the first time I saw it. But I thought that defense was appropriate. I liked it.
Mm-hmm. I remember watching it and just being kind of confused. I was like, what is going on?
It's a strange scene. Spider-Man 3 is not a good film. I think it's kind of sad because you can see the film they wanted to make in the Sandman plot. Mm-hmm. I do, however, really dislike the decision to retcon the Sandman as the actual killer of Uncle Ben, because I don't feel like...
Right.
Oh... Yeah, sorry, little one.
Okay.
I don't feel like the plot needed that for that story to work.
No. Yeah, it's... Yeah, I didn't really get that either, honestly. What is that?
I also think Spider-Man 3's version of Venom is really, like, uninspired. Like, Venom is a tough character to do anyway, because he's just pure 90s edge. And the problem is that that movie was made at the end of people thinking stuff like that was cool. You know what I mean? Like, it was made...
Oh, God damn it!
Oh, and...
Why can I not get these sheep right?
Stop using them.
I want to kill you with a sheep. Take that out of context.
In a parallel universe, there's a really good Spider-Man 3 that's just about Harry and Sandman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's...
Yeah.
We're pretty much...
Absolutely.
Excuse me. Couldn't get to the mute button on my mic. I was busy screwing up my shot.
So there's a few movies coming out that I'm actually really interested in. I know it's not like they've had some issues as of, you know, in the past with their movies, but I think I'm actually really starting to appreciate like Fox's, or Sony, I should say Sony, their like approaches to their movies now. Like, I know you didn't like Deadpool, right? But
no, that is Fox.
Is that Fox?
Yeah, Fox has X-Men
No.
and Fantastic Four. Sony has Spider-Man.
Okay, right. Okay, so Fox. So Fox
that's
did
something
Deadpool,
else we got to talk about before we finish.
and they also did Logan, which are two radically different takes on comic books and superhero movies that we haven't seen before. And
You're talking about this
another one too.
This new X-Men movie that looks like it's going to be a horror movie.
Yeah.
So, like, which one is it?
I'm not.
What's the franchise?
The New Mutants.
New Mutants. Yeah.
What the hell am I supposed to do over here?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I haven't actually watched the trailer yet, but I've heard it looks great.
Yeah, it's a cool trailer. I mean, like I said, I'm not a big horror fan, but I think I'll watch it just to see what they do.
Given that it's an X-Men movie, they won't make a... It won't be a gore fest, you know? Or a massive jump scare laden... It won't be a traumatizing experience, I imagine.
Oh, goddamn, I'm gonna hit with this mine. Yep.
Wouldn't it be great if it was that? If they were like, hey, look, it's It's X-Men 4, and it was, like, hostile. The X-Men go to a European...
No, it looks legit kind of freaky. It really does. Like, I would say... Can we pause? Can you pause? No, it keeps going. I'll say just watch the trailer right now.
I'll watch it. We'll talk about it next time.
No, watch it.
No, it's alright.
Now. We're running out of topics anyway.
No, I'll watch it. Don't worry about it. Stop fussing with you. So that's like we're always doing this. This is why we can't have friends. This is why we can't have friends and nice dinner parties. Sorry, I got caught in another argument. What were we saying? Speaking of which, we actually are at 2:15, so I don't want to get too far. I think this is going to have to be my last game.
Yeah.
But on that subject, did you see this rumor that Disney have been in talks to buy Fox?
It fell through. Yeah.
It did. But did you hear that a lot of the commentators have said that if you look at why it fell through, Fox came back to them with a price and Disney said no. A lot of people have said that given the talks they were having, this probably means they think they can get a better deal later on. So they must know something about Fox we don't. A lot of people were like, that'd be great, because the X-Men can come home, and Deadpool, and I was like, you know what?
No.
I don't mind that. Like, yeah, okay, a Marvel Cinematic Universe X-Men would be... I'd like that. Great, sure. But Disney's been buying a lot of people lately. And
Well, not people. Companies.
No, a lot of companies. Sorry, yeah. I do sometimes wish...
We're now in the human
No, you know what I meant.
business.
I do... Oh, God. I pressed the wrong button. I do sometimes wish people would, particularly in geek communities, I sometimes wish they would stop and think a little bit beyond the movies they want to see. Because, like, Disney buying Marvel was interesting because a big media company buying up Marvel was probably going to happen eventually anyway, and fair enough, Disney does a good job. And then buying Lucasfilm, well, I know Star Wars is huge, but Lucasfilm makes 2 products, you know? They make Indiana Jones and they make Star Wars, really, you know? They have some other fingers in other pies, but, you know, they're not a huge company owning a ton of franchises. Disney owning Fox would be terrible. Aside from the fact that you'd get some X-Men movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
What's been interesting, at least recently, is at least what they're doing with their X-Men properties. They decided, like, okay, well, clearly we can't, you know, compete, like, financially with Disney and Marvel, but we can start actually taking our characters in different directions, and making
compete
different
creatively.
movies. Right. And, you know, I don't think we would have ever gotten Logan. We would never have gotten Logan if it was owned by Disney. You know, they don't want to make that.
And they made the right
they have
choice.
An image.
They made the right choice of not doing what not doing what DC tried to do. Because what DC tried to do was suddenly have an Avengers competitor, a shared universe. And they tried to start with the Avengers. Do you know what I mean? Like that was a very poor choice. Fox kind of went the other way. Fox kind of went, well, why don't we just kind of screw continuity? Like, I think people sometimes forget how radical Days of Future Past actually was. Because, really, X-Men First Class isn't a prequel, it's a soft reboot, right?
Right.
You know, the James McAvoy Professor X is not the Patrick Stewart Professor X, really, in any meaningful way. He's quite a different take on that character, right? But to then make an adaptation of Days of Future Past with all the various versions you've got, and be like, yeah, we're just doing this, we're putting them all in, was bold, and a good film.
That's something I want to talk about. I don't think I talked about it on the show at all. Maybe I did. Did I bring up that I've watched a few of those episodes of The Gifted?
No.
It's good. It's actually really good.
That's the
oh, god damn it.
That's the X-Men TV series, right?
Yeah.
They're really doubling down on X-Men.
Yeah, it almost feels like a big fuck you, almost, because Marvel did their whole thing, like, we're gonna try to, like, downplay the X-Men for the Inhumans because we don't have the rights for X-Men to do TV shows or movies. So we're gonna really bump up the Inhuman. Nice shot. And that, from all intents and purposes, from my understanding, that Inhuman show is horrible.
Yeah, I've heard it's not terrific.
And so Gifted comes along, and it's really good because what it does, and I'm really interested in, like, what universe it actually takes place in, because there's some questions about that. And I think it's my personal opinion that it actually takes place in the Days of Future Past universe. Like, we're seeing, you kind of see how that starts.
It was very brave of them not to call it X-Men anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well done. Congratulations, sir.
Yeah, because two of the main characters are
I don't have time for another game, though.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But two of the main characters are Blink and Warpath, and you see both of them in Days of Future Past, and you know, as fighting Sentinels
the same
and
cast?
stuff like that. I don't know. I'm not sure. They're younger, so they're probably like in their mid-20s in this show. So I don't know. But yeah, the Sentinels are there. Like, not like the big purple robots, but like the big antagonist is Sentinel Security Forces, which is basically this
like a precursor.
Yeah, like the PMC, this private military company that...
I loved that they used the future timeline in Days of Future Past to give us some proper Sentinels. Sentinels, they are goofy, and I never thought we'd really see them in the movies. There's that hologram of one in X-Men 3, but, you know, that was just a nod. To actually give us proper Sentinels, I kind of liked. Have you seen Apocalypse yet?
No, I haven't.
It is not good.
I know, we've discussed it. But yeah, no, I would give Gifted a shot, because
can I be honest,
sets
John?
up a really... What?
I don't have time to watch all these things anymore. There are too many comic book TV shows now. Do you remember, like, 1999, 2000, 2001? Spider-Man's just coming out, and you're like, man, maybe we'll actually get some good comic stuff, you know?
Right.
That'll be good. And we got, like, Spider-Man, and then that Hulk movie, and you were like, yeah, this is like a golden age. But you start to wait, like, 5 years between every film.
Right.
Now it's like, hey, what are you doing trying to sleep, work... Oh, we got another X-Men show.
Well, I realized this, like, the other day, actually, because that Murder on the Orient Express is out now,
right?
Which I heard mixed
things
about.
By the way, I just want to mention, a little while ago in a stream on my channel, I mentioned I knew some hot off the presses goss about Murder on the Orient Express, and I told you in secret my hot off the presses gossip. I've known for months and months, and then there it was a couple of days ago in the Daily Mail, proof that I was not a liar. I still can't talk about it because it's unconfirmed, but that's pretty cool, right? My celebrity connection, right? You got it?
Yep, and I'm honestly, I'm still waiting for my check from the Daily Mail.
Terrific.
But yeah, no, like, I was thinking about it because I wanted to go see it. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't really have time this week to go see it. I'll go see it next week. And I remember Justice League is coming out. I have not gone to the theater and seen a non-comic book or Star Wars movie in about 5 years.
Oh, like, man, there's so much news we haven't mentioned. We only just remembered to mention Fox. We haven't mentioned the fact that Disney's just commissioned an entire new Star Wars trilogy.
I know. I'm excited, but also a little upset about that.
My thing is, on the one hand, yay, good new Star Wars movies, that's always good, but couldn't we have waited 5 years, 10 even, maybe, before doing it again? Because they would have made. I feel like they would have made more money if they'd waited as well. Mm-hmm. But
it's we're just being all these movies are coming out and
I know you're right.
like,
There's
the
real
fatigue
first
is
world.
real.
There's a real first world problems thing to it, but at the same time, like. I feel these days like I'm inundated in content I like. And the weird thing is, I don't get like those people on Facebook go like, yawn, aren't we bored of Marvel movies now? No.
No. Like, they're awesome. But that's the problem is like there's so much like there used to be a time where you had like a few things that you're really into and you really like, so you'd watch it, and then everything else you were kind of like, this is alright, I'll watch it here and there, and then maybe you miss something. No big deal. But now, like, there's just so much content out there that's good that you want to watch.
I was thinking about this.
Don't have the time anymore.
I was thinking about this the other day, and I remembered. It must have been 2003 because that's when it came out. My sister driving me somewhere, and there was a poster for the Ang Lee Hulk movie. That was 2003, right? That was around about there. And I was like, a Hulk movie. What's that? That's probably good. And I remember my sister saying, there's too many superhero films now. She must be in hell. She must be like...
Just every day wakes up.
Too many.
Yeah.
So here's a question.
All the other companies are trying to get on it too. Like, I know Tom McFarlane is still trying to get his Spawn movie off the ground.
Did you hear that the Universal had just given up on their Dark Universe movies?
Yeah.
Because apparently,
what the fuck did they think was going to happen? Like, there
everyone
was
was
no
like,
way that was going to be.
Everyone was like, well, the first one we tried to do, the Mummy one, was just really bad. And then I was like, wasn't the Dracula one first? And they were like, oh, we retroactively decided that one wasn't part of it. And I was like, well, do you know, maybe... People always say this stuff like, is the shared universe about to bubble, about to burst? No! Everyone who's copying Marvel are doing it badly.
Right.
That's very simple. Because they...
Although I did hear that that game...
yeah, I've heard that's really good.
Yeah.
Which
is really funny.
The movie industry and the games industry, they're so full of copycats, but they always try and copy the end product, right?
Right.
Like...
They don't want to put the legwork in.
No. I mean, I'm glad we got Logan. I'm glad we got Days of Future Past. I'm not glad we got Apocalypse. I'm glad the X-Men are doing well. But I would be interested to see, because to me, the temptation... They must have discussed it, right? At Fox. Mm-hmm. What do you think the world would be like for Fox right now if, after Marvel had started to really have successes, they'd gone, okay, the way we're going to do it is we're going to reboot, we're going to make a Wolverine movie with a new Wolverine cast. We're going to make a Cyclops movie and a Jubilee movie. Do you know what I mean? If they'd done it that way and then gone, and now it's the X-Men. I don't know if that would have worked, because the X-Men don't really exist as independent characters in the same way.
No, they don't.
They get their spin-offs.
It doesn't work.
Right. Like,
even in the comics, like...
And I would say Logan is the first really good Wolverine movie. Mm-hmm. Solo movie. I didn't mind the Wolverine.
I guess they're still trying to make the Gambit movie. It's just like...
Right, like...
just let that go.
I always forget.
I like Gambit, but...
Whenever I think of Origins Wolverine, I always forget he is Gambit. I'm like, oh yeah, Wolverine goes in the plane with that guy with the hair, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that was supposed to be Gambit. I don't remember him doing anything particularly Gambit-y in it. Mm-hmm. See, that was really the day the Gambit movie died, wasn't it? Because we could never bring him into the X-Men then, because he'd be like, hey, I don't know what happened, I was there. Here's your mystery solved. There you go.
Like, shit, well, okay. That's...
The problem with that is
pretty good.
The other thing is, that character wasn't...
Thank you, Southern Man.
That character wasn't Gambit from the comics.
No. Gambit
from the comics... Like, Gambit is one of those characters, I don't really get why he's so popular. I like him, you know? Mm-hmm. But he's very much a character that works as part of a team, not as a solo character. Because he's the laid-back one. How do you make a movie about the laid-back one?
Oh my god, the Brotherhood is attacking the city. We need help.
Yes.
C'est la vie.
Yeah. I'm on the next bus out of here, petite.
Mon ami. Just
Yeah. See ya. Sayonara. That's not Cajun. Goodbye then.
I was like, oh, sorry. I don't gonna leave now. That's what I want to see. I want to see the Gambit movie where they don't give him like the suave Cajun accent. I want to see him where he gets just a pack fucking swamp ass fucking.
He's always wearing a string vest and cooking gumbo. It's pretty hot now. You took
Camouflage
it.
everywhere. Warm today.
Old
Warm
man
yesterday.
Gambit.
Watch out for the gators.
I just want to. Can we have a movie where, like, they made Days of Future Past, which is absolutely a movie of 70s X-Men comics, right?
Right.
Then they made Apocalypse, which is absolutely a movie of 80s X-Men comics, and appropriately, it's awful. Where I want the movie of 90s X-Men comics where they bring back Anna Paquin.
That's Phoenix.
But can we have Anna Paquin as Rogue in a bright green and yellow suit flying around the place?
Hey, Cher.
with huge, massive 90s comic book breasts. The worst
hair.
cliches.
Like,
right, the huge hair.
Or it's like, you know, she had like the tasteful white streak in her hair in the movies, but like in this one, it's just like someone just grabbed her hair, pulled it out right, and just spray painted it white right under the
need.
She looks like she looks like the fucking cat from the Pepe Le Pew.
Right.
That always ends up getting the white stripe painted on it.
And we need and the leather jacket over the spandex. Which is a terrific look, by the way. Can I just say, whenever a character
but
gets
the
leather
jacket's really small, so like it doesn't actually cover her breasts at all. It's just...
And can we have Storm with the little mini capes tied to her wrists? Whee!
Right. Well, they kind of gave her that, didn't they?
Did they?
In Days of Future Past, when you see her in the future, she kind of has.
I forgot she was even in that, because as Halle Berry's career has its ups and downs, her presence in X-Men movies fluctuates dramatically. Like, she is barely in 3. They clearly got her for the afternoon.
Right.
Alright, bing, bam, boom, let's do this. I've got Catwoman to grieve over.
Oh, God. Oh, all I can think about now is the fucking Backwoods Gambit movie.
I take that. The Backwoods Gambit movie. The 90s Rogue movie. Oh. Do you know, we can't have a 90s X-Men movie without the Professor X in his flying yellow robot chair.
That he always gets knocked out of.
Right, like, he got knocked out of that more than his actual wheelchair. I always think it's funny, that first X-Men movie where they were so determined to get it right and be true to the characters, but so determined not to look comic booky. So the whole time Wolverine's just like, "Oh, superheroes, eh?" And Storm,
Would
Cyclops.
you prefer yellow spandex?
What do they call you? Wheels? And then
It's
when
like, your name's fucking Wolverine.
right,
Like, shut
and
the
then
fuck
when you look at those outfits, they've dated like cheese. they've aged.
bikers.
They've aged like milk with those outfits, and the whole movie's like, hey, no, let's not bother with those goofy comics, eh? Now get me into my full-clad black leathers while I throw myself at bad CGI.
You know what my favorite was actually not the first X-Men, but they started in X-Men 2, where they still had those same black outfits, but they started to add like color, like
Where little lines.
Like for their character. Like
Wolverine
like Iceman
has
had like
the
blue, and then Wolverine had yellow.
Wolverine has
then, like,
right back to X-Men 1. Wolverine has the little side triangles, the little stripes, but they're so like shallowly detailed in the leather. But when you watch the
Right.
movie, that makes no sense because they don't make one for him. He's not supposed to be going with them. He just takes one of the pre-made leathers. So why?
So who was it? Oh, I bet you that was Gambit. Oh, who took my damn suit? I'm just wearing this trench coat, I guess.
All right, I'll go with you, but I'm going begrudgingly. Oh, that's all right, Wolverine. We didn't expect that, but we're grateful. They put on the leather that just says Wolverine 36 on the back, like Wolverine.
No, it would have been even better if he just grabbed one, but it was just so ill-fitting. Like he accidentally grabbed like Colossus's, and so like the sleeves are just like flopped over his hands. You know, he just.
I always like.
He looks like a little kid who put on like his dad's shirt. So
There's a deleted scene from the at the end of the Wolverine, and it's
he gets the suit.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can tell why they cut it out because even in a box under perfect conditions, that thing looks ridiculous. like were they really suggesting at all that it was ever gonna happen that he would wear that in an X-Men movie? Because the thing is,
they should have had like a deleted scene on top of the deleted scene, where it's like, oh well, that's nice. Hey kid, here. Just hands it to the person next to him on the plane.
Hi, woman I barely know. Why have you given me a costume unlike anything I've ever worn or expressed interest in wearing? Because the problem is those ears, those are like Mickey Mouse's ears. They work as a drawing. They don't work when you try and actually place them into 3D space. And the idea that the Hugh Jackman Wolverine would wear that is absurd.
You know what's always my favorite thing about the comics? I think it's hilarious, and they kind of got away with it. They toned it down quite a bit. I always love the idea that he had these like little wings on the side of his helmet or whatever, but then his hair was also that shape.
Right, and you were like, was it hidden under there the whole time? Like, really, if you think about it, spandex is not that stretchy, right? His hair pops out like that, and it used to be huge, right? He used to have the huge hair that would pop out, right? It should still be bulging out the side of the spandex all the time, like just push it. So his head should look all misshapen whenever he, you know.
I'm the best at what I do. What the fuck's wrong with your head?
He just pulls it up. It's all mushy, like strands of hair coming out the corners where his cheeks. What is that? No, it's my costume. It's cool. Wolverine, I'm the best there is at what I do. Be the best at getting a haircut.
It's unnecessary. Like, when you're not in costume, you're supposed to be, like, inconspicuous. Like, everyone knows it's you, Wolverine. You're the only person who has that fucking hair in the world.
Do you remember when he went feral and they switched him to having a bandana, but then they pulled the hair all over his face like Sabretooth?
Oh,
and they cut off his nose. They were like, Wolverine doesn't have a nose now. Enjoy. And it went down so badly that one day they just completely dropped the plot, stopped drawing him like that, and never referenced it again.
I remember that.
That was just after the Onslaught plot. That was when I got into X-Men comics. Really terrible time because Professor X had lost his powers. Magneto had lost his powers and he had his powers but he'd lost his memory, and they called him Joseph. Right. And he lived with them. Wolverine was feral. And I don't know what Beast was doing. The X-Men has...
Have you seen how they draw Beast now?
Oh yeah, he
he's
looks
just
like a
this
cat.
It's like, no, we'll just bring
believe
him back
there's
with the Wolverine hair. Okay,
I believe there's
there was two people who had that hair.
Yeah. I believe there's a narrative explanation for that, right? Like, he has further beastified.
Right, yeah.
But he looks like, I know it sounds really strange, because this is a really weird association to make, right? But he looks like a real gentleman cat. Like, he looks... like, he looks like a cat, but he also looks sort of very... He finally looks sort of weirdly aristocratic. I was expecting to wear, like, a monocle. And like, hello, I'm Harvey Beastington.
There was a Dark Beast who was like that. He was like
Dark Beast,
pompous and arrogant. Yeah,
as opposed to one of those friendly beasts.
But you know what he actually really looks like to me now? Did you ever watch that show? I think it came in like the late 80s. Beauty and the Beast with Linda Hamilton and Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman, yeah.
That's what he looks like to me now. He looks like Vincent from...
I would be perfectly happy to go back to Beast with no blue fur, you know? I'd be perfectly happy to have just Monkey Beast back. Big-footed.
Oh, right.
Just big-footed Monkey Beast.
I want to know whose decision that was. Where it's like, all right, we got this character Beast. You know, he's kind of like misshapen. He looks kind of like a monkey. Yeah, let's just cover him in blue fur and make him a cat. Like, what?
Well, that always comes from that period of... That always comes to that period of X-Men where they were the new X-Men, right? And the first issue, all the characters of the X-Men, aside from Scott, including Jean Grey, actually, but everyone except Scott gets in a car. They're all teenagers. You know, it's Iceman, it's all these characters. They just get in the car and they leave. They're like, are you sure you don't want to come with us, Scott? We've had it with this place. We're out of here. And they just leave. And then they recruit new characters. And the characters they recruit, there are so many iconic characters. There's Wolverine, and then some other people. There's like... what are the X-Men they get? So Scott's there, Wolverine's there, Professor X is there, some big three X-Men characters. And then there's like the X-Men that was like a Native American.
Warpath?
Maybe. There was... I'm going to look who it was. And then there's a really great... They go on their first rescue mission, and the guy's like, we've come to help. We're the X-Men. We're mutants. And, and he goes, I call for the Avengers. I want no muties. But they go and they save the day. Every so often, the X-Men should have just been like, all right, peace out.
My question is, like, why didn't they ever just do that? Where they just show up, like, to save the day and be like, oh, no, yeah, we're the Avengers. Just claim to be the Avengers.
Like, we're the Avengers. We're the mutant Avengers.
So the X-Men. No! We're the mutant Avengers. It's you know, it's Professor X, and it's Wolverine, and it's Gambit, and I'm a mutant Avenger. Oh, God.
Okay, so here's the original run, and then they have a battle with Hulk. There we go. Chris Claremont era. Here we go. 1975 to 1991. X-Men was relaunched in May 1975 with giant-size X-Men, which is weird, because I've read that, and they are pretty much normal size. Oh my god, someone I don't know has just joined my game. Because apparently you've left. You've been timed out.
Yeah, I got left for inactivity.
I'm just going to leave this lobby and not just automatically pair me with people I don't know, thanks. So it was relaunched by Len Wein and Dave Cockrum, and the team were just check out these name. Just check out these awesome
Cockram.
These awesome characters. Some of them are pretty good. So Cyclops, most boring character in the entire Marvel universe. Banshee. Banshee, probably my least favorite X-Men. He's just not interesting.
I just hate the fact that like his whole thing is like his screaming thing, and like he uses the fly. Like, what tactical advantage does he have on a team? Like, all right, we need to sneak into this facility. Ah!
The element of surprise. So basically, the X-Men were supposed to come from all different regions, right? So you had Cyclops from America, Banshee from Ireland, Sunfire from Japan, who would later go on to be in the Big Hero 6. Wolverine, they really played up that he was Canadian early on. Storm from Africa, Nightcrawler from Germany. Is Nightcrawler from Germany? Nightcrawler, he's still around. Storm and Nightcrawler. Colossus. I always forget Colossus was like a main X-Men because he later on he started to fall more into the role of one of those X-Men who drops by and asks for favors, you know. And Thunderbird.
Hey, can you guys help me move?
Well, the X-Men are like that. They've had so many like past graduate students that you'll go through a period of having like really entrenched characters, and every so often someone will come back and be like, "Hey, do you remember me? I was in issues 39 through 42." I was on the team. I was the captain for a while. The cover said I was the newest, most powerful X-Man. There's trouble in Uruguay, where I'm from. Let's go there in our jet.
Like, please leave.
Yeah, just go away. There's a lot
We're not buying.
unexplained. There's a lot really unexplained in the X-Men, really. Like, there's nothing really in their powers, inherently in their setup, that suggests they should have a high-tech military jet that can't be detected by satellites. You know what I mean? Like,
we just came across this.
right. Unless someone's mutant power is making high-tech jets. That would be a difficult puberty, wouldn't it? Like, when the powers start to manifest. Like, hey, Jimmy, what do you want for dinner? Just a jet appears in the kitchen, crushing Mother.
Like, oh, it's our new mutant. What's his power?
In time, we'll teach you to control this ability. They go out to that field in the middle of nowhere in first class. It's just littered with crashed high-tech jets. Of all kinds of different make and variety. It's like, oh, and then Professor X is like, oh, that one would have been a really good one, too. Just on fire. One day, we hope that we can train you enough that you can make a jet that doesn't just immediately burn.
I just like the idea that his power is to create the jet, but it's also fully stocked with their own X-Men teams.
And as they crash, he keeps making the terrible places. Like, oh wow, that's 7 or 8 new mutants we could have helped, just dead now. Just gone.
Like, they blink into existence, have to come to terms with their existence, and then crash. It's like the whale from fucking from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
He's like, all right,
just,
Jimmy.
Oh, where are we? Like, I'm. My name is.
Does anyone else
Fireball,
fly this one?
And that's
okay. I think I'm the pilot. I'm the comic relief. Okay,
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
What are you doing here? I don't know. I just came in here.
This time, Jimmy, I want you to try and create a jet that contains a mutant who will be able to help you harness your abilities. I think I could do that, Professor X. Oh god, the man's 6 foot and the jet's the size of a pea. Ah! I could have helped.
He creates a jet, fills his own team that has a member in it that does the same thing. So, brand new X-Men team, jets falling from the sky, and it just creates another jet inside and it kills them all. You can't blame me for that one. Right? You can't blame me.
And eventually,
and why do you keep calling me Jimmy? My name's Oscar.
Eventually, they just kill the kid and just make a jet out of the parts of all the thousands upon thousands of graveyard jets littering the English countryside.
And he's like, oh no, we just built this plane. No, that's how it happened. No other reason. Just. I was gonna say, like, the mutant, his power is just embezzlement from military contractors. So.
Well, there are some really obscure powers, aren't there? I always remember that episode of X-Men the Animated Series where the mob's coming in to beat up a mutant, and he looks like the CGI singer from Return of the Jedi. And he's like,
right.
He's like, I'm a mutant, but I don't actually have any powers. I'm not that kind of mutant. And he's just got a beard and a big nose. And I'm like, that's a mutant?
Right.
That's...
Like, yeah, I feel so bad, like, because, you know, in X-Men you always see these characters who have abilities that are useful. And, like, they can be used in combat or something else. Like, there's gotta be just plenty of mutants out there who just have bullshit.
All right, come in, David. I'd like to know what your mutant power is and how I can help you embrace it. Well, Professor X, I've got a massive cock.
Just flops it down on the fucking desk. It has its own suit.
I've just been blessed with a really massive dick, Professor. Okay, and how can I help you deal with this? I'm cool with it.
It's like, I don't know, just...
They've got those training montages as they're passing over the school. Here, we'll help you come to terms with the pain. that your powers will cause you and the difficulties. Each student here faces their own challenge. He's like walking up to ladies. Got it. Challenges
everywhere in a banana, just everywhere in a banana hammock. Just
straining to the point of bursting banana hammock. Like, ladies, gentlemen.
The fabric is so stretched that you can still see through it.
Right.
Like we can see your cock. Yeah, you can.
Pretty big. That's my mutant power.
Yeah, we know. Want to help me control my powers? No, I'd rather not.
Want to help me harness my ability?
Wanna?
It cannot be.
Like this
one
is
day,
really close to just sexual harassment. Like
one day, David will help you harness your gift.
Just who I am.
It cannot be harnessed.
Walks into his room, there's just holes in all the fucking drywall. Like, oh, did you lose control? No, I just thought it'd be fun to drive my massive dick into these walls. Like, fuck it, it's indestructible.
The next day, he's just out on the front lawn, just naked doing windmills. Woo! Mutant powers, mutant powers, mutant powers.
Although, I would feel bad, though, because when the Sentinels do come, it just, like, throws him in the prison. Like, what? Really?
I want to see that on the intro to the old 90s cartoon. And the names fall down. Wolverine.
Flop.
And then, Big Dick.
Big Dick Johnson. Just...
Come on, David. Tell me your pain. Well, Professor, one day I know that my destiny is to meet a mutant with a really big vagina.
I'm going to enter your thoughts to see the moment when you realize you had your powers. All right? Cuts over to him. Yes! Yes! Woo! Call the neighbors, you gotta see this shit!
He's in school in science class, he's looking at a girl he likes, and suddenly the desk just goes... He's just seeing it go through the wall, and then just, in the distance, just spins, just the moment where a young man realizes he's a mutant can be a troubling time. It's not often it's not unlikely to find tears, anxiety. And they look to the flashback, it's just crying, I've never been so happy.
I was like, what his name would be. Like, I know he's a big dick, but I was like, assemble the team: Wolverine, Storm, Cyclops, Throb.
Wolverine, Storm, Cyclops, the Emasculator. Joe, I will say, Professor X, the rest of the team seems to have a lot less machismo since the Emasculator joined the team. They don't have the same get up and go, the same pizzazz. Wolverine's like, I got the same mutant power, but I just don't go showing it around.
You know, it's not the size of your mutant powers, it's how you use it. It's not the,
and then he bumps into Rogue in the corridor.
Boat.
No, no, no!
They do that scene, you know, where you see in movies where like all the heads like pop out from around a corner, like on top of each other. So it's like it's Wolverine and Cyclops and Jubilee and Iceman, and also
and then the Emasculator's head.
There's a dick out there. I don't see anything.
They're tied up, held by Mr. Sinister, and like, how are we gonna get out of this? Quick, Emasculator, think of something arousing. And they just get pushed out of the side on the little bench they've been tied to, just whee! The X-Men, there's room for all kinds of characters.
You just hear, alright, we're gonna interrogate, Throb. Or, strip search him. Like, well, that's just grotesque. Like, who wants that? No one wants that.
Who'll let this prisoner sleep with a body pillow? Oh. He's kissing it. Good night.
It's like, I know I understand you're a prisoner, but we do try to accommodate, some basic needs. But can you explain why you need so many Kleenexes?
Yeah, I'm afraid we don't have a fleshlight that big.
Can I just use the vat that you make the plastic in? Just...
Mutant powers.
There you go. Our newest X-Men. Big Dick.
Big Dick.
Oh god, that does just... I know it's my own joke, but it fucking makes me laugh. Just running out of pickup lines. You wanna... fuck? Oh. Like, my god, that thing's massive. Well, it is a little cold outside.
Joe would be even funnier though if he did all this stuff, but he just had a relatively normal-sized dick. Like, if it was big, but not like, but like 7 inches. Like...
Yeah, it's just a little bit above average.
But everyone's equally impressed.
Like, wow, that's one hell of a power. I know, right? Getting thrown out like porn studios. We don't want your kind here. I'll
The
drop dead before I let a mutie start in my show. Oh man. Well, I think we should probably wrap up there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
this has gone on long enough.
Can't really top Big Dick Johnson there.
Big Dick Johnson,
who's now our newest member of the Those Aren't Biscuits Avengers. It's Tom Hanks, Ian McKellen, who thinks he's Magneto.
Charles.
The flying World War I a Nazi gunner.
Oh, I've forgotten about those guys.
The flying German gunner. And now Big Dick Johnson.
It's a good team. And soon we will be able to make our own shared movie universe. But who will go first?
Oh, man. Well, I don't think you start out with Big Dick Johnson. Like, he's definitely a phase 2 kind of guy.
Right.
He always comes later. Sorry.
It's very funny.
Oh, I'm getting goofy. Yeah, I don't know. I think you gotta start out with Hermit Crab Tom Hanks. He's the linchpin
Of the whole franchise, yes.
Right. He's the foundation. And I think then you do bring in Ian McKellen, because honestly, how much longer is he going to be alive? So we got to get him in there quick. And I think you do Big Dick Johnson third, right? And then the flying German gunners round out.
Well, I see the flying German gunners more of a villain.
Really? I don't know.
In the Tom Hanks movie,
I see them like in a. Maybe like a foil, at first, but like he brings it together. He comes around, or they come around, and later they're like Hawkeye from the Avengers, where he's kind of evil, because of like mind control or whatever. But then at the end they help.
Right. He's won over by the enormous size of Big Dick Johnson's big dick.
It's like
all 7 inches.
That's the biggest dick I've ever seen. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you see like the discoloration go from his eyes and be like.
It's like that. It's like when Black Widow just beats Hawkeye over the head with the fucking, what is it, the fire extinguisher or something like that?
Right.
Big Dick Johnson walks in and just slaps him across the face with his dick. Oh, all right, I'm back. Yeah, we're back. Yeah. All it took was a good whipping by some Wiener Schnitzel.
All right, man, let's get out of here. Come on. I'm going to go to bed.
Thank you for watching Those Aren't Biscuits. I've been Jonathan Cadotte. He's been Owen Adams. Where can they find you, man?
Go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Owen Adams. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, and you can find me on my personal blog, which is johncperson.wordpress.com, or on Twitter, which is @johncperson. And yeah, make sure you like and subscribe this video and share it, and tell all your friends about the classy, amazing, highbrow humor that we bring to the table. Because there's no other YouTube channels out there just doing the highbrow stuff like we do. We don't go blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until next time, everyone, have a good one.
Bye.